5 and 3, 2, 1. I believe we should now be live, hopefully. I'll give it a few seconds to connect and make sure. Yes, we are. I don't think anybody's watching yet, but that's fine. So I'm going to kick us off, and hopefully if anybody isn't watching right now, they may watch this back, or I don't know, come to it at a different time or whatever. So hello and welcome everyone to the Silver Screen podcast review of the year 2023, recorded live on January 1st, 2024, because why not? I am your host for this evening. I am Mike Wilson from Silver Screen and Hit or Miss Star Trek podcasts. And I'm your guide through everything in 2023. But I'm not doing it alone. I have some people here at least, not many, but some. I'm being joined by my co-host for this evening, Toby. Welcome.
Hi, finally got a promotion. Yeah.
And we currently have our first, hopefully, guest of the evening, Adrienne. Welcome.
Hello, everyone.
So, well, you see, everyone, I don't think anybody's currently watching, but we'll wait and see, I guess, if anyone turns up. So, yeah, this is basically going to be our review of the year 2023. Bear with me, because I'm getting a message.
Well, Toby, congratulations on your promotion. It's kind of exciting to see you here.
Yeah, I was gunning for that. Yeah, review solo. So
Awesome.
good that it worked out.
I think it's been a long time since you and I have been together on something like this, right?
Did we do anything?
Were you on the last year one for last year?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's the one.
And
Wow, is that it?
not.
Yeah, but
What did I do
mean,
this year? I did the Captain Marvel. I did.
right. I wasn't on that one.
Guardians of the Galaxy. I
No.
did.
Oh,
And,
I listened to you, of course, but I don't.
Oh, we did the Flash one, Flashpoint one.
Yeah, we
Right.
did. Yeah.
And was that it? I think
That
that's
might have been all you were on last year, yeah, but we talk all the time anyway, so.
Yeah, we do. We talk. Of course, my goal is to help lead him to a Star Trek series this year.
We try.
That's my New Year's resolution.
Speaking of which, our next guest has joined for this evening. You'll probably know him from occasional appearances on this podcast and on the Hit or Miss Star Trek podcast. He assures me he's watched more Star Trek now. So welcome Will Templar to the stream. Will, welcome.
Hi, I said some, not most.
Yay!
Hi,
That's
guys.
good, though.
Yeah, hey.
Will, you know Adrienne and Toby, right?
Yeah, of course I know Toby and Adrian. I know you from the guest appearances on Star Trek, I think, more so. Yeah. I read some of your appearances.
Debating where everybody knew each other from the reviews that we'd occasionally done together, but mostly it's just from chatting in Discord, I think, back and forth. But
yeah, I don't think I've been on a call with Adrian before, but Toby, of course.
Yeah. Well, I know you know Toby, of course. Yeah.
Hi,
Cool.
Toby. How are you, mate?
Great. How are you?
Good, mate. Long time no speak.
Yeah.
Went over a year. Thanks for having me anyway.
You're very welcome. Thanks for agreeing to come on, and hello to the, I think, 3 viewers who are currently watching.
I'll check on Instagram. Get some viewers in here.
Sweet, cool. Before I forget to mention it, by the way, I'm not able to see comments on the stream that I'm streaming from on StreamYards, but I will try and keep an eye on the live chat in YouTube. If anybody's watching and wants to chat, you can do so on there, and I'll keep an eye and see if anything comes up. That's if anybody's viewing from there. But yeah, so I'll get us started then, because we are a little bit late. So yeah, this is going to be a review of everything from the last year, because we're all kind of into our media and entertainment stuff. So just as a general overview, the year, it's safe to say, was probably dominated by strikes, whether it be the Writers Guild and then, of course, the actors. one went on longer than the other, and it seemed like that was going to go on forever for a while. So that was a bit of a black cloud over 2023. But there were still lots of good movies and TV shows and things that were coming out that we'll hopefully get to and get a chance to speak to. So I'm going to come to each of you, and I'll come to you first, Adrian. What's your overriding memory of 2023, and do you have a particular standout in entertainment, rather than an event or a particular thing you want to shout out?
Well, it was great to see all of my Star Trek people on strike. I loved watching that. I loved watching them fight for their rights. But for me, it was mostly a Star Trek year, personally. I love the new Star Trek. I'm really into it. So I would say that was it for my overall feelings. I didn't watch that many movies this year, but you sent me a list of movies, and I was able to squeeze in some of them. So I'm excited to talk about them.
Indeed, yeah, and I think we've got some dissenting opinions on some of them, but we'll get to that when we do.
Yeah,
cool.
And then I had a special little thing that I did this year that involves Power Rangers. So maybe we'll talk about that later.
Oh yeah, I forgot I made you watch that.
Yes, you did.
Yeah, that was an experience and a half. Thank you for doing that. I think you were the only one that actually sat through all 10 episodes of that series.
Did watch them. It's hilarious. But I have a new appreciation for Power Rangers. We'll just say that.
Yeah. Well, if we can get Toby to watch Star Trek, maybe I can get a few more people to watch some Power Rangers, or at least some Japanese footage. So anyway,
I first need to get through Buffy, and that's already
that's a good point. Out. You started Buffy, and we seem to be stalling around season 3 at the minute of your
no time.
This review of 2023 talking about the hits of 1998, I think, at this point, but never mind. So yeah, Toby, what about you? What was your kind of highlights from the year overall in the world of entertainment and things like that?
I mean, talking about the personal highlight, it's that and that was surprising to me, I actually watched more than last year. But also because now in December I also put a lot of work into watching a bunch of stuff that I hadn't, to get a little bit more out there and have 20 movies on the list.
Fair enough.
And overall entertainment, well, I wouldn't call it a highlight, but I think what's dominating entertainment right now is the failure of a lot of franchises. I think that's kind of the year. A lot of franchises are struggling. A lot of high budget movies struggling. Not all, but a lot.
Yeah, I think it's going to be the year where studios realize that they're going to have to cut back on spending for even the things that they would previously think, well, it's a guaranteed, billion grosser, because there's no such thing, it seems, anymore, and you can't go spending 300 and 400 million to make a movie, I don't think. So, but that's a different discussion, perhaps for later on in the movies. Certainly, it's a reason why I think a lot of films were considered bombs, which would have probably done quite well if they were more modestly budgeted. But again, we'll see when we reach that, I guess. And so, Mr. Will, what about you? How did 2023 find you, and what stood out for you?
Are we talking in terms of media or just in life in general?
Yeah, if you want to tell me about your life, obviously you're probably going to use the chance to plug your YouTube, and why not? But
if you want, you can subscribe to my YouTube channel, I guess. But in terms of media, oh Lord, it just comes to me that I have to watch more TV in general. My aunt has recommended so many TV shows. However, again, I've just found myself watching Doctor Who and Star Trek here and there. I say here and there. I've watched quite a bit since my last appearance on the podcast, and you guys berated me once again.
I really didn't.
No, I'm being dramatic, but the last 4 times I've been on, I have not watched a single episode in my free time. But I've changed that. I've watched the entire original series now. You'll be pleased to know.
Seriously?
So, I've watched the entire original series.
All 79 episodes?
All 79 episodes.
Wow.
And none of them are on Letterboxd. So I look forward to the next guest appearance of the podcast.
Oh, you're going to be very early next year. We've got you down to review an episode of the original series. And I think Adrienne's on that one with you as well. So.
We'll be able to discuss that. But yeah, there's just a load of shows that I need to catch up on that I know are very good. In terms of films, I've not seen as many as I really wanted to. I only saw one film in October, which is shocking for me. That was The Creator, which was a decent enough film. It was quite good. But it's not like previous years when I watched like 20 to 30 films per month. Last year I've just lost track on that, and it's my final year of university now, so I'm trying to pick it up, but I am aware that again in this first 5 months of the year are going to be quite difficult to do so. So over the summer, hopefully I can watch some more, especially the TV shows, which I need to binge desperately.
Yeah, well, that's fair enough. Yeah, I should say I did want to make a note that I made it a challenge to try and beat the number of movies that I watched last year, and I did, because last year I managed to scrape my way to 100, which for me is pretty good. This year I've just checked and I've managed to get to 143, so I've fairly smashed my last year's score. So I'm going to aim to beat that again in 2024, but we shall see how many of them are new, because of those that I mentioned, 53 of them are movies that were new out at either cinema or like just a couple of them went to streaming, but they were new releases. So
wait, has the year in review for Letterboxd come out yet? Because I've seen that every other year except from this year.
I've never seen one this year, so I don't think so. No,
I haven't had mine. Maybe they do it a few weeks after the new year. But
I think a lot of them wait till after January, because there was somebody who was taking the mick, because I don't know if you know that former President Barack Obama makes a list of top movies that he saw. He's done it for a while, every year, and he produced his list last week, and then a couple of days later went back on social media to say, "Oh, ignore that. I would also add The Color Purple that I've seen." And a load of people on social media were like, "This is why you don't do your list till January, Barry." So I was like, "Oh,
yeah."
But yeah,
I was only 85 this year. Jesus.
Wow.
Do you really call him Barry?
Barry Obama. That's how he was known at school, apparently.
Yes.
So I'm told.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
Yeah. No, he was named that in a Spider-Man comic, which he guest starred in.
That's true, yeah.
So yeah, he's a huge nerd, fan of Star Trek and everything as well. So yes, that's bringing me to my next point, Will, which is I've got to ask you then, and then I'll move on from this topic, I promise. So now that you've watched all of the original series of Star Trek, what's your next step?
What is next? Because I got the original series, like 4 different shows.
Well, technically speaking, if you're going chronological, the next thing would be the animated series, if you choose to watch that.
Release order, I think.
Yeah, well, that would be the animated series then, which is not great and not particularly well regarded. But I mean, they're 25 to 30-minute episodes, so it's not really a chore as such. And then from there, the first 4 movies. So,
so they did movies before they actually rebooted the TV show.
Well, one way the reboot Next Generation came out between movies 4 and 5. They kind of brought the original crew back in movies, and then when they were successful, launched Next Generation as a whole other thing. And
gotcha.
And it gets weird after that, because chronologically speaking, you're all over the place. Because the movies, DS9,
I just want to watch
the are all just airing around the same kinds of time. But anyway, Toby's gonna fall asleep if we keep discussing
nerds.
Aw. We're gonna bring him in though. He keeps trying to stay out of it. We're gonna be like the mafia. We're gonna suck him back in, or suck him in to begin with. Yeah.
Oh, I can't wait to get interview you on the actual Trek section here or on the podcast and get your thoughts on the 79 Trek eps and what your favorites and least favorites were. But not right now. So what we'll probably do now then, if it's okay with everyone, we may as well start with the kind of main reason that we're here. So why don't we discuss the movies of 2023? Shall we start with that, do you think?
Sure. Yeah.
Sure.
Why not?
So let me see if I can share the screen, because I am old and can't do 2 things at once. There we go. So I don't know if the image on screen that I managed to mock up will jog memories of anything from the year gone by. But again, I'm going to ask, first of all, what's the overriding memory of film that you, before we get into like the nitty gritty of what you've specifically seen and how you would rate them, is there a film or 2 that stand out specifically? And we'll come to you first. Why not? Ask you that.
Oh, you'll come to me first, of course. So this year, I'm looking at my diary as it stands, and it looks like I watched a lot of classics towards the start of the year. So films that are very intentionally popular that I just hadn't seen, like Catch Me If You Can, Good Will Hunting.
Well, we're talking about the films of 2023, Will, specifically. So.
Go! Films about 2023. Okay,
were released in 2023.
Okay, let me get my 2023 list up. Do you want to go to Toby while I do that?
I will. Toby, how about you? What's your overriding memory in terms of new releases from the
Sorry,
last?
Toby. I heard that sign. It's like, fuck off, bro.
I did this year watch way more anime movies than last year. I think last year I had one, and now
Wow.
it's count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 out of 20. So it's a lot of that. Also, a lot of superhero movies because DC just keeps pushing out stuff that.
But they released 4 this year, and
Yeah.
pretty much all of them bombed horribly. So
I mean,
yeah.
Aquaman is kind of doing okay-ish.
It wasn't last I looked, but in fairness, I think it's a very
It's
low
like
bar.
at 260 now, and if we go moving on to January, it might get 400 if we're lucky.
How much did it cost to make, though? That's the
Probably
thing.
around 200 as the Flash, I guess.
We've got to add reshoots and stuff as well onto that, though, because I think I
I'm not
remember
saying
hearing-
it does amazing, but it is the best.
No,
of
I'm just saying
DC.
it's a weird case because I remember hearing that at one point Michael Keaton's Batman was going to be in the movie. Then when they sort of changed everything
Oh,
around
yeah.
and reshot, Ben Affleck was going to be in it, and now as it turns out, neither one of them's in it. So it's kind of like, who knows how many times they've had to film these things? Yeah, I'm not getting to the whole have they had to refilm around Amber Heard situation either, but yeah. Anyway, I haven't seen Aquaman yet. If anybody's curious, so I can't really say anything about that. So your overriding view of the year is probably the DC
Fake DC fan.
EU films, then Toby, and them
Yeah,
not
the
doing
way
well.
too many of them.
Yeah, they really were just
Not again,
let's just crap out these last 4 as quick as we can and move on. I think weren't they? But although I will say I liked like 2 of them, so you know,
Yeah, I did too.
yeah, Shazam 2 and Blue Beetle I think were good. The Flash
Yeah.
unfortunately was not. We'll talk about that later. Probably.
Yes.
So Adrienne, I'll come to you. Have you? I'm guessing you're not somebody that keeps up in the way us film nerds do with your new releases, but you'll have seen a few. So what's your overriding kind of new release of 2023 memory?
Well, I crammed everything in here at the last minute, and but for me as an American, I saw Marcel the Shell with Shoes On.
Yeah.
2022, and that is still my favorite, but it's on the 2023 release for I think you guys. So
Yeah.
I just love that movie is probably the best one. But from the flashier movies that folks really into, loved Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse.
Yeah.
What a movie. That is basically my favorite one of the year, I think.
Wow. Cool.
Yeah. I don't know if I was supposed to say that, but
No, by all
that's
means.
where
absolutely.
I'm at. Yeah, that's where there were some surprises for me too. Like I kind of had to pick and choose of the platforms that I have, and I from the list of the movies that you gave me, I was surprised and pleasantly with Gran Turismo.
I think everybody that's seen that said that because myself and DK were both really surprised at how good that was as well. So
Yeah.
if anybody hasn't seen that, that's another chance for us to shout that out and say it's a shockingly good movie, guys.
It's a great movie. Anybody can watch it. I mean, I know nothing about racing.
Oh no, I know nothing
Zero.
about car racing or like video games even specifically.
Yeah.
but
No, oh yeah. No, I know nothing. I mean, as a kid, I remember seeing that video game in the video places, but that's all. Like, I don't know
think
anything about it.
it's kind of poorly marketed, and I think they realized that when they started calling it Gran Turismo based on a true story, because it's more of a true life biopic than it is like a video game or a car racing movie. And
It is.
yeah,
And
that's
it gave me the opportunity to actually look up these real people.
yeah, which is bizarre because I had no
Yeah.
idea that like everything that happens in the film did actually happen, which is so rare because
It's
like
so
oh yeah, it's
great.
based, but there'll be some kind of poetic license or whatever. But no, it all happened and it was all real and bizarre that they had this contest and people came from nowhere to race and everything. And
Right. And fun for me is that I really like David Harbour. And I just thought he was really great in it, and Orlando Bloom, okay. But I just thought David Harbour had a chance to, play his crotchety character that he likes to play. I love that.
I think he was myself and DK's kind of MVP of the film. And I talked to him since he's not here. I should probably have mentioned up top, but DK is not feeling very well, which is why he's not
Oh.
joining us on the stream. He's got the winter flu. But no, when it came to Gran Turismo, he said the same thing as me. He was shocked at how good it was. He thought David Harbour was the best kind of actor in it. And like me, he was just really baffled why Jerry Halliwell randomly turns up in the movie.
That's still kind
Ginger
of cool.
Spice from the Spice
Yeah,
Girls
that's
just turns up
sure.
in a very minor role, and when that happened, we were both just like, "What? Her husband's got to be producing this movie or something because she's not an actor." Yeah.
But maybe she is.
Well,
You
yeah, she
know,
wasn't bad.
maybe she's going to be doing it more. That'd be wonderful.
Absolutely. So, yeah, fair enough. Will, have you had a chance to think about 2023 as a whole yet?
Yeah, I mean, once again, it's not much, to be honest with you. Like, I'm going to give my top 10 later, I'm sure, but then I've only watched 20 things from this year. So, and then again, 20 things all in all is probably more than most people.
Well,
20,
I was on
20
50
cinema trips.
Not to brag or anything, but you know.
Yeah, I know, Mike, you've watched probably 50 or 50 odd,
53, I just told you.
Yeah, 50 fucking free.
That's so many.
But the thing is, he goes to the cinema for like double film days and stuff like that. So it's not.
Oh, yeah, I mean, I pay a monthly fee. That's the whole point. I make the most of it. The cinema probably hates me. I'm the worst kind of customer because I'm like £16 a month. Haha, you fools.
Yeah. So I watched quite a few films, mostly just blockbuster stuff, but there is a couple more niche films in there, like Carmen, which I bought for you at Christmas, Mike, or for your birthday, I believe. Which I'm sure you haven't seen still.
I still haven't, but I will, especially considering that, like I've mentioned, it is Melissa Barrera who's the lead, who I'm very interested in all of a sudden, just after her performances in the likes of the Scream movies and after seeing her unfair treatment in particular, being fired for not wanting people to kill each other in a bizarre situation. But again, we're not getting into the politics of all of that. But yeah, apparently calling for a ceasefire not allowed. Anyway.
Yeah, it was a good film nevertheless. And then I watched a couple horror films in Evil Dead Rise and Five Nights at Freddy's.
Okay.
That the latter was definitely a mistake. It was a bit shit.
Yeah. Thank you. It was. Everybody else seems to be like kind of on board with it, and I'm just like, it's so boring. I expected it to be like the game and be full on horror, and it was just like for the first hour, it was just Josh Hutcherson dreaming about his dead brother, and I'm like, this is so dull. This has nothing to do with anything.
I mean, Millie Gibson agrees with us. She gave it 1.5 stars, so I think we're right here.
Well, there you go. The new Doctor Who companion has apparently got taste. So
give me 1 second.
I love that she joined Doctor Who and we immediately all just started stalking her on Letterboxd to see what she thought.
As we should.
I love that her review of her first episode of Doctor Who was just her character was hot. That's the entire review.
That was my review of The Church on Ruby Road. So yeah, you're not wrong. But yeah, Mission Impossible came out. I watched that. Really loved that.
I love that.
Ridley Scott released like 2-3 films this year. I've only seen Napoleon. And a lot of these films that I do have in my top 10, most of them did come out towards the start of the year, especially in the latter half of the year. Not much has come out. I don't think that I can solidly say I've seen, first of all, and enjoyed, second of all. Like Gran Turismo, I was heaven sent. There we go. On going to watch that film in the theater, and then I just never did.
Oh,
so that sums up my year for me. I was going to watch a lot. I didn't end up watching a lot. I haven't seen Wonka yet. That was a big mistake. I haven't seen Anyone But You yet. I
haven't seen that yet, but I do want to go and see it.
Yeah. And then I want to see Saltburn. I want to see.
Well, that's what Amazon Prime Video do, so you can just watch that on there.
Yeah, I want to see the guy who's like the British Schindler about the war story.
I know this. I can't remember what the
One Life.
Yeah.
Yeah, it comes out today, I believe. In fact, so
there's a ton I keep seeing. I've been wanting to go to the pictures or the cinema a couple of times, and the weather's been so bad that I haven't been able to. But I want to see those, and I want to see Ferrari. Obviously Aquaman, just for completion's sake.
Yeah.
And Next Goal Wins, which I did mention to you, I think a week ago or so.
Yeah, Luke mentioned that because he went seen it on New Year's Eve yesterday, and he said, whilst the narrative is that he's kind of lost the plot, Taika Waititi, he actually does pull back some of his peakness with this film. So there are like traits and good. It's worth a watch, he said. So I might actually give that a go, even though the trailer and the early reviews were really, really awful.
I liked the trailer. That's what convinced me to go and see it.
Oh, okay. Never mind.
By the way, Will, there's somebody on YouTube chat called James Allen who says hello and then just says Will Templar. So I'm
Oh,
guessing it's
great.
somebody you know.
Hello, James.
So yeah, hi James. So yeah, that's fair enough. Well, I mean, it's safe to say that I know the biggest movie for you this year was be one that we disagreed on. It would probably be Oppenheimer.
No,
Really?
no, it's not. It's not my number one.
Oh well, I don't. Yeah, but that would okay, fair
We'll
enough.
probably disagree with my number one anyway, even though you haven't seen it. But
Okay, I'm surprised a little bit, but I thought that would have been your overriding kind of takeaway of the year because if you ask me, the kind of the main memory of movies this year was the whole Barbenheimer phenomenon thing.
Yeah.
Hence my little name,
it
Mike
was
and
very
Barben.
fun seeing like the box office numbers of Oppenheimer go up and up and up to the point where Christopher Nolan now is like, yeah, the success was fantastic, but I don't care about that film anymore. Let's go on to the next one. I just think, dude, celebrate your work a little bit. You were hyping it up as like your most important film for months, and I guess it's just promo. To be honest with you, he doesn't care.
Yeah, of course. But yeah, he keeps working. But yeah, so I'm gonna go around and ask all of us then: have we seen Barbie and Oppenheimer? Since that was the big story of the summer, I guess. Will, I'm pretty sure you've seen at least one of the two.
Yeah,
Have you seen Barbie or no?
me.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think we disagreed about it at the time.
Oh, you didn't like it, I presume.
No. I thought it was alright, but
Okay.
I felt like I had whiplash at the end.
Right. Yeah. See, I saw that before Oppenheimer, so
Yeah, I mean, it just gives you about 5 like endings to give the same message, and I just thought, mate, you could have ended this film about 20 fucking minutes ago.
fair enough.
But yeah, thankfully I watched Oppenheimer first, and then not on the Barbenheimer trend. I saw Oppenheimer on my birthday, and then I waited a week, and then I went to watch Oppenheimer, then Barbie, and I was like, I want to go home halfway through Barbie because Margot Robbie was just crying, and I was like, is she going to stop crying? She's not going to stop crying. Please let this film end.
Well, I loved it. I'm going to stick up for the film in case anyone thinks, we're all of that mind. I love Barbie.
It was okay.
I thought it was brilliant. I love Greta Gerwig as a filmmaker, and I thought the movie had some great messages, and I enjoyed it a lot. And I did do that annoying thing where I went on the release weekend and saw Barbie immediately followed by Oppenheimer, and saw a bunch of kids that were there because of the memes who clearly had no interest in the actual content of the films, but thought it would be hilarious to join the hashtag, I guess. But, it worked. It got tons of money for both films, so you can't complain. If it worked for Minions to get a bunch of people to go and see it in suits, I guess why not? So yeah, Adrienne, I know that you're another one who disagrees with me when it comes to Barbie, having recently watched it.
Right. It wasn't horrible. I mean, it was a cute movie. It was good. I liked the messages, but I wouldn't watch it again. I wouldn't need to watch it again. Like I said, for some reason, the character of Ken just almost repulsed me. So I was like, I don't understand what's happening here. Yeah, but that's why I don't like Seinfeld.
Okay.
Because I don't know. I don't want to watch people that kind of repulse me.
I don't think you're supposed to be celebrating Ken, though. He is kind of the bad guy of the film. You're meant to be repulsed until the very end of the movie.
Right. But I loved the human characters, the mom and the daughter. I loved that story. I loved
America
that
Ferrera.
She's great, and I love that whole aspect of it. So that's a plus for that.
I should also mention what a year it's been for Ariana Greenblatt, who was the little girl in Barbie, the young Ahsoka in the Ahsoka series, and the young Gamora a couple of years ago in Avengers Infinity War.
Isn't that amazing? I love
3 of the biggest franchise hits ever. She's like 11 years old or something.
Awesome for her.
So yeah, pretty amazing. But so did you see Oppenheimer by any chance?
I saw it. I loved it. Yeah.
Hell yeah.
I watched it 2 days ago, and it was great. And I love long movies. I'm totally into them. I love that kind of stuff. So I was just from go. I love the way it was edited and put together. I love how it started, and I loved all the characters and these actors that I didn't know was in it, because I didn't look it up ahead of time. And it was great.
Yeah, there was a couple of surprising actors. I was quite shocked when Josh Peck turned up. I was like, what?
Yeah,
He's
right.
in this? What was that? Yeah. I mean, these films are going to be doing really well when it comes to awards. Barbie, I think, has only just been announced to have like 12 Critics' Choice nominations for various like actors and things like that. And early buzz is that Oppenheimer is likely to win Best Supporting Actor for Robert Downey Jr. and probably Best Movie when it comes to the Oscars. We don't know if that that will eventually pan out by the time they happen in mid to late February, but certainly that's the early buzz. So a lot of people obviously saw something in that film that I didn't. So I wasn't a huge-
Oh, you didn't like it that much, huh?
No, I don't know.
He hates Nolan.
Oh,
I do not hate Christopher Nolan at all. I gave Dunkirk 5 stars when I finally saw it this year.
He literally saw Dunkirk about 2 days before, which I think is a dreadfully boring, slow film.
See, I
And
think
then,
that about
he watches Oppenheimer 2 days later and says, "This is the most slow, boring film I've ever seen." And I think Michael B. fucking for real.
I don't know. I had issues with the way it was presented as well. I would have rather seen, the effect of the likes of the victims, particularly the people that were attacked
Sure.
by the bomb, and the native people that were shoved out of their land and stuff like that. Well, it was very straight white male focused, as you would expect from Nolan.
Yeah, but you criticized the pace and whatever, and the fact that
I
it was
didn't
a
like
bit
that either,
boring.
and I didn't.
It was like a different scene every 2 minutes. How can you be
Yeah,
bored
it was
by
high paced.
It was stuff that doesn't interest me. It was like, oh, great, another courtroom scene. Oh, great, another scene of him talking to people in a room. Fantastic.
Well, I guess really fascinating to me because it's such an integral part of American history. It's so real for us, that we did that. It's so real to see these. And of course, it was a white men's world back then. It's devastating. That it's true.
I would have
That's
liked
the
to.
hard part.
It's such an important event on the world stage. I would have liked to see the effect it had on more people than just that one guy.
True, yeah, but
I don't know if I've written it in my review, but I did think when I saw Godzilla -1, it's incredible that this movie actually does more to show the social and cultural impact of the bomb than Oppenheimer about the guy that
It doesn't even do much about that either. Like Godzilla, it doesn't do much legwork. I know Mike said, "Oh, this is deeply affecting." I just thought it's just one scene where they acknowledge the fact that they're traumatized by.
Yeah, and the entire country is completely crippled. That's the entire
right.
problem.
Yeah,
Right.
it didn't hit home for me as much as you.
It didn't. If it would have glorified any of that in any way, then I would be ripping my hair out, But I mean, Grave of the Fireflies, I think, really portrays what happened through all of that and earlier. So I mean, if you really want to see that stuff, that's the movie to watch.
Oh, there's a lot of things. I mean, I think I recommended. I think it's called When the Wind Blows, which is a similar thing, like about an imagined nuclear attack on Great Britain that happens, and it's animated, but it's harrowing. And if you want to watch something like that, I wouldn't recommend watching it more than once, if at all.
Yeah, that's the same with Grave of the Fireflies. Watch it once alone and get it through your system, and then pray for no war. That's basically what these movies are trying to say. Yeah.
Cool. So what about you, Toby? Have you seen Barbie and Oppenheimer, and what were your thoughts on them?
I was gonna do the double thing, but then I missed Mission Impossible the week before, and then that got pushed back, and then one of them had to go.
Okay.
So I just and then I just forgot about it to watch.
So which one of them have you seen then?
I have seen Barbie.
Oh.
Okay.
I was never gonna miss Barbie.
What did you think of it?
I did like it, but I think there's just something off, like in the similar vein as you with Ken. There's like something just that feels off to me that just was a little off-putting.
Yeah.
So I was just
that's a good word. Yeah, off-put.
That's fair enough. See, I already felt awkward because I was the only single man in the screening full of like women dressed up in pink and everything.
Oh,
and
that's funny.
I look really weird and creepy, being the only kind of dude here in like a Flash t-shirt or whatever, just sitting down to watch Barbie on my own. But
you should have like a button or a sticker that says movie critic and have your website or something, a hat or something that, you should
I promise.
Silver Screen Podcast.
No, I should definitely have
Journalist.
because she went to see it with my niece and she bought me the film for Christmas. So,
Oh, yeah.
but anyway, yeah, enough about those two. So, yeah, before we get into the top tens, then the other big story, as you mentioned, of the year is seemingly the collapse of the superhero movies' dominance. And we mentioned already there was 4 DCEU films, the last ones to be released from that company, which didn't do well in any case, either critically or financially. There was, of course, 3 MCU films, of which 1 did really well and the other 2 did not. And then, of course, there's films that don't fit into either, like Across the Spider-Verse, which I think did fantastically well critically and financially, and then everybody kind of realized that it was because they just essentially, killed their animators to get it out in time. So we had about a week and a half of thinking, hey, there's this good thing in the world that we can celebrate, and then nope. Turns out you're actually benefiting from the horrible crunch labor of all these animators. So yeah, anyway.
Also, I love the confidence, them just saying the second part is coming out next year with it being not finished at all.
Yeah, they haven't even started it.
They
like
haven't
even
exactly
now.
But it's coming out next year. Okay, good luck with it. I think they pushed it now to 2025.
They don't even have a date. They just said it.
But they don't even have a date.
Yeah.
Better that way.
Who knows what will happen, but certainly they won't get away, I assume, with just working their animators to death. And they don't have to. I mean, people pointed out things like the Ninja Turtles movie, which I didn't love, but did very well. And that, the animators were all treated fairly, given plenty of time to make it and everything. So it's clearly possible, Excuse me. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. But yeah, back to the subject at hand, which is sort of, what's your overall thoughts on superhero movies this year? Toby, I may as well come to you first because I get a feeling you'll be the one most invested other than me in this. So did you see them all? What were your general thoughts? And what do you think about this kind of narrative of, is it the death of the superhero movie and whatever?
Well, The Flash was the worst movie of the year.
Oh, yeah.
By far. Okay, it was so horrible. I don't want to get into a 25-minute rant, but I could.
Feel free, because if you don't, I might. So yeah, I did not like The Flash.
It was horrible. It one of the worst things I have seen, honestly. It's just so horrible.
Mm.
Is there anything good about this? Honestly, Iris was good. Iris West, the actress, she was really good. And she was like, what, 2 minutes in this movie?
Oh, in The Flash, you mean?
Yeah, in The Flash.
Forget the name of the actor.
I don't know it right now.
Yeah,
but she was amazing.
She was incredible, but she was barely there. As you said, it's kind of
Yeah.
ironic that Zack Snyder complained about her being cut from Joss Whedon's Justice League, then put her in his Justice League for literally longer than she was in the Flash movie. Yeah, weird to cast somebody and then not use them. But then again, that movie, it does the integral Flashpoint storyline and somehow manages not to include Reverse Flash, which baffles me as a choice.
Yeah. There were a lot of choices in this movie.
Yeah, I think primarily the insulting resurrection of dead characters via CGI at the very end, which is supposed to be a glorious, heroic moment. And I think the entire cinema, myself included, were just like, oh, no, you didn't.
Or live characters that just wasn't invited to the studio set for some reason.
Exactly.
Okay, why not?
Oh, well, never mind.
At least Nicolas Cage was happy, so there's that.
So, yeah, I mean, The Flash didn't do well, and I will say I'm of the same opinion. I really didn't like that. And I didn't like Quantumania, which is, I think, the first MCU film that I've truly just thought, there's almost no saving grace to this thing. It looks horrible. The script is daft. Some of the effects are terrible. And I just didn't care. And, of course, now you've got the situation with Jonathan Majors where they marketed that film as like, it's the start of a new dynasty. And now it's like, never mind.
Dynasty.
Don't look over here. Don't look at Kang. Yeah, bit of a mess.
Quantumania. Yeah, and I know you disagree, but I also think The Marvels was a mess.
See, I liked The Marvels. I think that was one of them films where if it had been released in a different year, or if it just didn't have, 3 female leads, I think that would have gotten better responses. But yeah,
I just thought it was an editing mess.
I can see what you mean, but I still think it was fine. There's nothing wrong with it.
I think the action scenes are amazing, and I kind of want Nia DaCosta to do a better action movie than this, because I think we need this.
I don't think it's her fault. You do get the sense that
Yeah,
she's trying
I don't think it's her fault. That's what I mean. I need her to get a better movie.
Yeah.
than
No, you
this.
get the sense that she probably gave them like a 2.5 hour movie, and then they were like, for
Yeah.
whatever reason, we need it
Exactly.
2 hours, and so they just cut a bunch of it out. We'll see how many
Exactly,
deleted scenes are on the inevitable Blu-ray or whatever. So,
Yeah, because there was so many exposition scenes that were just missing, and I'm like why?
Yeah.
Like we arrive at this singing planet, and it's like we need to get into a plan, and then it's like 5 seconds later we have made a plan. I'm like, what happened in between? Nothing. Okay, and then they just vanish off the singing planet like after a 5-minute fight, and I'm like,
That's because people complained about stuff like that, but I don't mind that. I like a bit of whimsy every now and then. Plus, great post-credit scene at least.
I guess.
It was weird because obviously I saw that as well on my own, but I was sat like a few seats along from a couple, and you could see that like the guy was a full-on comic book nerd who took his girlfriend or Mrs. whatever to see it, who wasn't as into it, and then the post-credit scene happened, and this guy just let out the biggest like shocked gasp you could possibly imagine, and I could just see his girlfriend looking at him like, what? What's so important?
I will never forget that one woman in my cinema who cried the last 15 minutes of Infinity War, just straight through. 15 minutes. I'm like, you do know that they're not gonna let this stick, right?
Yeah. Oh, they're
I
dead.
think it's-
Not coming back. That was
But
pretty
good for her,
hard
good for
at
her.
the time, but still. So yeah, I mean, any other thoughts on the superhero movies of the year then, Toby? Other than
Yeah, Quantumania was also a mess. We already talked. I think that the only difference between the Marvels and Quantumania is that I just think in the Quantumania there's a little bit in the script where I'm like, there were some ideas that I like that just the script just doesn't do anything with, and the Marvels is just, I don't know. There's just not a lot. I think
that's fair enough. A lot of people would have agreed with you.
that's
Obviously,
the
I like
difference.
the
for me.
Marvels. Yeah, I think the only one you can call an unqualified success this year would be Guardians of the Galaxy 3.
Yeah.
Ironically, the film that Marvel, that is made by the guy who's leaving Marvel to head up the competition, which they can't be happy about since it's the only one that was profitable this year. But
Yeah.
I like that movie.
Did you see Guardians 3?
I did. I crammed it in. I think the same day
Awesome.
I watched Oppenheimer. My poor brain.
A lot of people did have issue with the kind of animal cruelty aspect of it, but
Mhm.
and I can see
Yeah.
where they're coming from, but I mean, it's quite clearly, CGI, frankly,
Right,
so
yeah.
I can live with it. And it's so important to the story and so kind of heart-wrenching to Rocket as a character
Right.
that I liked it. And I think that that's probably the best trilogy in the MCU. I think those Guardians movies, they're the
Mhm.
most solid. I don't think there's a bad one amongst the three.
There isn't. There really isn't. And don't forget the
Yeah.
Christmas special. That's pretty good
And
too.
holiday special, of course, yeah.
I love a good backstory. And
Yeah.
I just thought it was great to hear about Rocket, and I loved the ending, of course. It was like, I think it was made for me.
I was just so, like, spoiler alert, I was just so glad that nobody got kind of permanently killed off, because that was certainly what there was being implied throughout, and I was like, oh dear. And it was weird because I saw DK and everyone was asking me like, oh, am I going to be devastated at the end? Who dies? Don't tell me and whatever. And I was like, I can't really see anything, but I'll say that the right decisions were made and it made sense for the story. And then I saw an interview with James Gunn at some point after that where he said he debated killing at least somebody off, and then was like, it would just be for the heck of it. The story doesn't demand that, so why would we do it?
Exactly.
Yeah.
I'm glad they all survived.
And the fact that this movie turned out so well after Infinity War and Endgame kind of put this whole story through a ringer.
Yeah, and well, not to mention James Gunn being fired, going to be
that as well.
getting rehired.
Right.
I mean, it's years since Guardians 2, but yeah. Although I will say, if you're looking for a criticism, I can't remember who it was that said this, but I would agree with somebody who says that Adam Warlock as a character has no business being in that film, and clearly is only there because he was in a post-credit scene in Guardians 2, and James Gunn was like, well, I've got to use him now. So he just seems like he's totally superfluous to the most of the movie. But yeah, anyway.
I thought he was going to disappear at some point. I thought he would get blown up or whatever, but then, I kind of like how there's like an awkward person, you know, they come in and get some actual feelings. I kind of like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a bit samey, but like I said, the film
Yeah.
I overall loved, and I mean, to briefly talk about the DC films, I know I'm probably in the minority. I liked Shazam too.
I did too.
It was just fun. Again, it was a throwback. Not going to set the world on fire, but I liked it. The Flash I thought was a disaster. I really loved Blue Beetle. So I was kind of good that didn't do well, and I feel like that's one of the situations where it's a victim of just the other two movies failing, and everyone thinking, well, there's no point in seeing DC movies, it's all finished now. And I would say if you asked my recommendation of any of them to see that you haven't seen, I would say Blue Beetle is the one, because it was good. I liked it, man. And if only for Susan Sarandon's terrible overacting as the villain in that movie. But yeah, and as I say, I haven't seen Aquaman yet, so we'll see what I make of that when I eventually do see it. Yeah. So we've talked to Toby. What about you, Will? Have you seen any of these superhero movies, or have any thoughts on them?
I mean, ironically, I think the superhero movies that I have seen have 100% hit rate for me.
Okay, what are those?
I've only seen one.
Oh, okay.
Wow.
Blue Beetle.
Oh.
It was a bloody good film, though. It was the only one, like, only superhero film, I believe, besides, of course, Infinity War and possibly Endgame, that's actually made me cry. Like, usually I find flashbacks really cheesy, but I think they were used really effectively in Blue Beetle. Maybe overdone a bit in terms of, like, really cramming home the desired effect of, like, grief and whatever, and fighting through for a loved one and whatever. And I get that, and it was effective on me. And so I completely agree with you, Mike, in terms of it should have done better, because I think as a blueprint, it's really good as like is it an origin story?
It is. It's an origin story for Jaime.
Yeah.
I mean, but again, if you're a comics nerd, you know he's like the third person to have the mantle of Blue Beetle. So
yeah. It's probably the strongest origin since Captain America. I think it's safe to say for me.
Okay.
Personally, so all those years ago, and yeah, I haven't seen Guardians of the Galaxy 3, even though I loved the first two. So
I'm shocked you haven't seen at least that of the MCU.
Yeah, I don't know why I haven't. I literally just went on a date with someone, and they said, "Do you want to go to the cinema?" And I was like, "Yeah, let's go to the cinema." And then we watched Blue Beetle, and I was like, "Okay, this is actually pretty good."
Okay, fair enough.
But the thing is, you haven't been keeping me to the high standard that you've set me previous years.
I know.
Leaderboard for me, we used to like tick things off the list, and you would add it onto a leaderboard so I can see and whatever. And then you was like, "Ah, fuck you! You're not getting
I
that."
feel guilty considering. I mean, if I had to force you to watch Quantumania and Secret Invasion this year, I would feel terrible.
Oh no!
To be
Secret
honest,
Invasion.
This year has been like the year of the TV shows, and I stopped watching the TV shows after 2 episodes of What If Series 1, because I know Series 2 is already out, and the first episode of Moonlight. Then I stopped completely. I watched the new Black Panther film. I'm not sure if that was even 2023.
It was last year.
No, bloody hell.
2022, sorry, I should say last year.
Okay, 2022. And I think that was the last MCU feature film that I have seen. So, yeah, I need to get back into the swing of things, but I'm not asked with the TV shows. And I think if they make the films inaccessible, unless you've watched the movie, unless you've watched the TV shows, I think that's where the casual audience falls off. And I think I do see more and more tweets, for example, saying, I stopped watching Marvel 2 years ago, and I was like, yeah, I'm pretty much the same. I relate to this, and it's viral because there is so much tied in media now, and it's like you have to watch this and that to understand this, and I just think I can't be asked.
I don't think you have to, and I think they're going to veer away from that now. So
I hope so. I hope they've realized their mistakes, because I think they were hiring someone a few months ago to kind of take it into like a new direction.
They were just going back to what Marvel TV used to be, which is like actually make it like a TV show. So instead of getting somebody that makes movies, hire a showrunner to actually make a television program.
That'd be good, because like I enjoyed Loki, I enjoyed Falcon Soldier. I did not enjoy WandaVision, as you know, but then I just lost interest completely last year because, again, you weren't holding me to.
So you haven't
I'm blaming you.
Season 2 either, then.
Sorry,
you haven't seen Loki season 2 either, then.
I haven't. No, I wasn't a massive fan of series. It was decent. Not enough to blow me away. Series 2 had different showrunners, I believe.
Yeah, but I would say series 2 for me is better than the first because I'm on the.
Good.
I liked the first season, but like you, I wasn't like it's the greatest thing ever. Season 2, I would say, is a little bit better. With the sad thing, watching it back now, of course, is going to be the sheer amount of Jonathan Majors that's in it because now you're just kind of like, oh dear,
Yeah.
this
See-
can't go anywhere. So,
Season 2 had a different showrunner on paper, but I think it's now come out that the showrunner for the second season also rewrote a huge amount of the first season after the previous showrunner did. What did he do? Doctor Strange, I think.
Yeah, I think it was Multiverse of Madness.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he wrote a bunch of stuff of season 1. So I'd say it still feels like 2 seasons that are packaged together.
Oh yeah, wouldn't say that it feels like a different show or anything at
Yeah.
all. I just think season 2, I
It's
like.
like grounds for series 3. Is there going to be a series 3?
There won't be a season 3. No, it ends in a
No.
very specific way, shall we
Right,
say?
okay.
So, yeah. But no, I like series 2. For me, has a way more. Like series 1 was not that focused, and series 2 is quite clearly a 6-part story that knows what it's saying and has a beginning, middle, and an end.
I agree.
Yeah. Anyway, I mean that's movie related, being MCU, but we'll sort of shut that down there.
Oh yes.
So yeah, I mean we've talked about some of the bigger hits of the year, but obviously I'm just looking at the screen and at the films I've seen. Obviously, I liked, just quickly going through, I love the Scream movies, and I liked Scream 6. I liked Megan. I know I was on my own on that one, and I know that was way back at the start of
Good
the year.
lord. I forgot about that one.
I really loved Mission Impossible, Dead Reckoning Part 1, whatever.
Yeah.
And I really liked John Wick Chapter 4, which is weird because if you saw my review of the first John Wick, I was not a fan. And by the time it got to John Wick 4, I was like, I've completely turned around on this franchise, which is weird. Let's see, what else have I seen here?
Even though it literally took your flaws from the first one and just multiplied it by 100.
Yeah, I know, right? Well, I'm a hypocrite. What can I say? Yeah, I'm going to start with everything that's not in my top 10 just quickly then. So I will say they didn't make the top 10, but I would say the likes of The Whale and A Man Called Otto were great drama movies to watch as well.
2022.
I know.
Mike has already put out a thing. Even if it's released in 2022, if it is released this year, 2023, in the UK, he calls it a 2023 film, even though it's been
But it was released
everywhere else the year before.
Well, anyway, regardless, I will say I have seen Wonka and I did like it, which I wasn't expecting to. I think that's a film that's done again. It's a lot of people have come out pleasantly surprised from that one. I liked Saw X. I think it's the best Saw movie since the second. If you like those, if you're not a fan, you're not going to particularly love it. I kind of enjoyed Disney's Wish, even though it was another bomb for Disney this year. Kind of enjoyed The Creator, even though most people I think hated that movie. And I saw a couple of comedies like Joyride that I thought was really good, and No Hard Feelings was all right. Evil Dead Rise I did see and liked. I liked the Transformers movie, but not as much as Bumblebee, so it was a little disappointing. I did not like Creed 3 or Knock at the Cabin or Ninja Turtles or Cocaine Bear or Strays, or I didn't like Mario Brothers, even though I know it's like, the biggest grossing film of the year. Sorry. I didn't like Adam Driver Bores Me Senseless for 2 hours, aka 65. And I really didn't like Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny. What a mess. So yeah, with that then, we've been here almost an hour, so we may as well get everyone's top 10s if you have them. So Adrienne, I'm guessing you probably don't have a top 10 films of 2023.
Aha. I literally saw 11 movies.
Oh,
and
wow.
While you guys were talking, I went through the internet and I was able to remember the one other movie that I saw. So I actually have a top 10 and I have a worst movie of the year.
Okay, go for it.
Okay, so I already mentioned. Okay, I'll start with my worst movie of the year. You just mentioned it. No Hard Feelings.
Oppenheimer.
I had no intention of going to that movie. It was a very spontaneous trip, and we just went to the movie that we had like a couple hours to see a movie, and we dropped into this one, and I hated it.
Strays.
No Hard Feelings.
Okay.
Right. Yeah.
Crap.
Oh, it was terrible. Okay, so we'll start with number 10. For me was Elemental. That's my
Oh.
number 10. I don't need to watch it again. My number 9 is Dungeons and Dragons. Enjoyable, but I wouldn't need to watch it again. Barbie is number 8.
Even though you didn't like it.
No, well, I've only seen 11 movies.
Okay.
I have to put it in my top 10, right?
I know, but it's not even like it's number 10. Like there are 2 films you liked less.
True. Okay. So number 6 is A Wonderful Story of Henry Singer. I liked that. It was good.
Never
It was
heard of that.
quirky. Oh, it's a Netflix movie. Does that count? Oh, geez.
No, of course it counts.
Yeah,
I've
Okay,
had
good.
two
Yeah.
movies on there,
Yeah,
but
that's what's his name? The big star, Doctor Strange, the guy that plays Doctor
Benedict
Strange.
Cumberbatch.
Yes.
Oh,
Wait,
It's
what's the
called-
film called? My bad.
Okay, that's okay. It's called. Let me just make sure I get it.
Is it The
here.
Courier?
No, The Wonderful Story of Henry or Harry Singer. I don't remember his name's Harry or Henry.
yes.
It's really good.
It was getting good reviews. I haven't seen it
Yes,
though.
I really enjoyed it, but of course, I love those kind of little quirky things. Okay. And then my number 5 is Gran Turismo, which I already said I was pleasantly surprised by. Number 4 is Guardians of the Galaxy 3. And my favorite, there was such a touching thing where she says, you're not the destroyer, you are the father. Oh, she's talking to Drax. You're not Drax the destroyer. You're meant to be a father. Oh gosh, I lost it.
don't spoil it for Will.
Oh my gosh, Will, I'm sorry. That
No,
doesn't
it's
happen.
okay. It's okay. Never mind.
Okay, well.
I always forget spoilers when I sit down to watch it. So yeah.
You're gonna good. You're gonna love it. Okay. Then my number 3 is Oppenheimer. Number 2, Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, which everybody just needs to watch. It's so great. And my number 1, which was probably my number 1 last year, is Marcel the Shell with Shoes On. Will and Toby, have you guys seen that?
I haven't.
Oh,
No.
okay, it is so sweet. It's a movie you could watch with somebody my age and my gender if you really want to hang out with your grandma, your aunt, your mom, your older sister. It's so sweet.
I would
that's
say it breaks through those barriers though, because I saw it on my own, and I still think it's just one of the most beautiful, kind of heartwarming,
It really is.
kind
Oh
of
yeah, yeah.
feel good in a weird way, but also quite
Right.
emotional.
Mhm.
I highly recommend everyone watches it.
Yes, agreed.
It's almost impossible to describe because it's going to sound super weird if you try to describe it.
It is.
It's a stop motion thing about a shell with shoes. And it's based on a YouTube short comedy thing by Jenny Slate, and yeah,
It's just the
Yeah, just watch it.
sweetest, most wonderful movie. And that's it.
awesome. That's a good list. Can't really fault that, even though Will would complain about you putting Marcel the Shell since it was released in I think early 2022 in the States, but never mind.
Yeah, it's funny, but we don't know each other enough for him to get on me about that. So.
That's
Pretty soon.
with you, I will.
Right.
So, Will, we'll come to you next. Why not? What's your top 10? And if you have a dishonorable mention for the worst.
Are we including the Grand Tour, a feature-length special, TV special, in top 10 films?
It's up to you if you want to include it. Go ahead.
No.
It's your
no.
list.
It would be my top 3. It's at number 3.
I will say that I didn't include Mighty Morphin Power Rangers Once and Always, the reunion movie.
Okay.
Thing, even though it came out when it would have been in my list.
Yeah. So my bottom film is 65. Alan Driver bore me since this for 2 hours, as you put it. Dreadful film. And then excluding the Grand Tour, it goes Air at number 10. Carmen, number 9. Surprise entry, Blue Beetle, number 8. Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning at number 7. Evil Dead Rise is an odd one because I watched it with a woman and then we literally just ripped it to shreds for the entire runtime. And then I give her my phone and then she just gives it 4 out of 5. And I think, what the hell are you doing? We've literally just shut on it. So it makes my top 10 just because I didn't give it any thought afterwards. So it's there. Then it's Napoleon.
Okay.
Then Godzilla -1.
Okay, cool.
Then John Wick, the 4th one. Then my top 2 is Oppenheimer, which I thought was dead bang on, dead set, going to be number 1 of the year until Killers of the Flower Moon came out. and I was just blown away. Good old Scorsese, who Mike hates because of his trepidations against the Marvel. And
I really don't. I just think he's, I haven't.
you really do. I don't, but this is why I hate him.
No, I haven't seen a lot of his movies, so it wouldn't be fair to
Okay.
judge. And I'm sure he's a fantastic filmmaker, but a lot of the films that he's made, certainly nobody's talked about a great one since the 90s. Whatever.
I don't know. The people that have seen The Irishman like rave about it.
Not the people I've spoken to.
No, I don't like them.
The Shutter Island as well. That was pretty big. I say
Yeah,
pretty
not
big. That was huge.
Okay.
The
Well,
Wolf of
anyway,
Wall
I haven't
Wall Street. That was
but I'll
like
consider it
film.
your recommendation if it was your number one for sure. So yeah, that's fair enough.
It's worth a watch.
Any other last thoughts, or shall I move to Toby for his top 10 and possible worst?
Just that I think the Grand Tour, the latest special, I think it's the first episode of Series 5. It's absolutely worth a watch. It's the most breathtaking visual thing that I've ever seen on streaming, like made full streaming as well. It's the most bang on crisp they've ever made that show. It's hilarious, it's entertaining, of course, with that trio. How could it not be? And the production team have just like absolutely knows the format after about 25 years of doing it, but you get the point. And yeah, we're back to peak Top Gear levels with it, so worth a watch, guys.
I'm not going to say anything, but
You like old Top Gear, Mike?
I can't stand Jeremy Clarkson. You know this.
Yeah, but you like the entertaining shows.
I don't mind the other two, and I like watching these shows for their entertainment value, but I just can't stand that guy.
Yeah, I mean, fair enough.
Yeah.
He's a very-
What about you, Toby? Then, what was your possible worst of the year and your top 10 if you've got one?
I mean, the worst is still The Flash.
Yep.
Nothing will ever change that. I do want to shout out two movies that didn't make my top 10 that we haven't. Well, Adrian, I think, mentioned Dungeons and Dragons. So I want to shout out that because I really liked it. And I want to shout out Quiz Lady, which is just a cute comedy I watched on Disney Plus. And
What was
I
that?
don't know. Quiz Lady. It's like
Oh,
a
okay, I
road
haven't heard
trip
of that.
kind of comedy. It's nothing big, but it has Sandra Oh in it, so I have to watch that
Oh, okay.
because
Cool.
she's amazing.
Fair enough.
And it was cute. It was cute. It was cute.
I clearly miss a lot of these streaming because I hadn't heard of Adrienne's Benedict Cumberbatch movie either, and this is news to me. So I'm writing all this down to watch later.
Yeah, Disney Plus just releases so many of these like Fox Searchlight movies, and I'm always like, this sounds interesting. I have to watch it, and then I never do. This like list feature, this watch data feature, is full of Searchlight movies that I'm like, this sounds interesting. I would watch this, and then I don't.
I did watch a couple in 2022 because that's how I saw The Menu and The Banshees of Inisherin on Disney.
Oh, well, the menu I watched in theater. So
Okay, fair enough. Yeah, okay. So what was your actual top 10 then, Toby?
my actual top 10. We start with number 10, Suzume, which is the latest Makoto Shinkai movie.
Yes,
And
anime.
you watched Your Name, so
I will watch the others. I want to watch Weathering with You, and I want to watch Suzumi. Once I can find them somewhere.
It's good, but it's a huge downstep, I think.
Right.
So, quick review here. Number 9, Barbie. We love Barbie. It's still a great movie, and like the thing I have with Ken is a thing, but it's like a minor thing for me. It's not something that ruins the movie for me.
Fair enough.
We have more anime coming up. We have
I didn't doubt it.
this time I made an effort to watch a lot of them. Number 8, number 8 is the new Detective Conan movie, which I also think was quite a downstep from the other movies. I think the focus was just not where I wanted it to be. Number 7, another anime movie, To Every You I've Loved Before, which I do have to tell you about this because it's 2 movies. There's another one coming further up, and they're crafted in a way that you can watch either one first and the other one afterwards.
Oh, okay.
Which sounds good on paper, and after I watched them both, I'm like, no, you can't.
Okay.
Someone died here. They classified like the pink one and the blue one, and I don't know if anyone wants to watch them, but watch the pink one first. And the blue one is the one I have at number 7. Number 6, Tetris. I know you love this movie, Mike.
Mhm.
God,
It's-
I need to watch that.
It's amazing. It's
Like
so
Gran
fun.
Turismo, it's another one that's actually a biopic more than anything else, and shockingly good.
Yeah, and it's just so interesting to see it.
Yeah.
Like, it's just fascinating.
It's
so
got an
interesting
extra
to-
layer for me because I actually lived through those events, so I saw the kind of the
Fair enough.
sanitized version of things that we saw on the news, and this is obviously like the reality of what happened, and a lot of stuff that's come out since and everything. So it was like, wow, this is. I recognized like the key players, particularly the British people that were involved and stuff, but didn't know the full story till I saw the movie and was just fascinated by it.
Yeah, I only knew like a couple of bullet points of the story, but I didn't know any of the details of
Yeah.
what actually happened. I just knew like it was this game was from the Soviets and it somehow made it over. That's like the one bullet point. I shouldn't say bullet point. It's one bullet point I knew, and the rest I didn't know, and it was really fun to watch. Number 5, Fate Strange Fake, another anime movie,
Okay.
which I have a complicated history with this franchise, but this is a great entry from one of my favorite authors. Well, it's an adaptation of one of his books, so great. Mission Impossible, the new Mission Impossible at number 4, Dead Reckoning Part 1. I think we all loved it here. I forgot. Did Adrian watch it?
Yeah, I loved it. I got the Steel
No,
One for Christmas as
I
well.
meant Adrian. Did Adrian?
I haven't watched it yet. No.
You haven't watched. You will love it. I just say. I just
Oh.
claim
You
that
watched
now.
any of the other Mission
Really?
Impossible films, Adrian?
Can I watch this one without having to have seen the others?
Not really.
Uh,
I mean, I only have watched what was the last one? Fallout and this one. So I don't
maybe
know.
I'll try it. I don't. Toby, if you say I like it, that sounds kind of interesting. I didn't think I would. I'm not a
don't
Tom
know if
Cruise
the-
watch. I don't watch Tom Cruise movies usually.
Oh, I see. Okay. Is
Yeah.
it just you having an issue with Tom Cruise as a person?
I think it's just his acting.
Yeah, I like him as an actor. I can't stand him as a general
As a general human.
the general human being who's part
Yeah.
of a dangerous, cult.
That's
Right.
what he
Not a
wanted you to go on to.
I mean, everyone, a lot of people who have worked with him seem to say that he's like nice in person, but this cult thing, I just can never shake off. It's just not happening for me.
I'm
Yeah.
sure he's a lovely
This is just
person,
so
but
That's
it's,
why his crew stick around. That's because he treats them so well, supposedly. And then I just get PTSD flashbacks from the COVID times where he just shouts at all his crew.
Mhm.
I have an issue with Scientology. I think they're really dangerous and
Yeah,
make
No,
people
totally
disappear and
agree.
have police in their pockets and stuff. So
Yeah, that's
Totally
why.
I'm
agree.
sure Tom Cruise himself isn't personally doing any of it, but
I was going to say, I can't remember him actually perpetuating it. I saw like a TV show decades ago, like just on a flashback thing on YouTube. Ray mentioned it, but other than that, he doesn't like publicly out himself as being part of it anymore, at least.
He did used to, but I think he realized how bad it was because he went on a debate that I saw. This is about 10 years ago with Kirstie Alley when she was talking about like mental health issues and stuff, and he was like, "I don't believe in drugs. Just go for a run." I was like, "Tom Cruise,
Yeah,
fuck off."
Yeah,
exactly. Yeah.
Andrew Tate vibes, Lord.
yeah.
Anyway, sorry, Toby, you were saying.
Number 3, the only superhero movie in the top 10, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3.
Okay.
We don't have
Hmm.
to talk about it anymore. We have already. Number 2, Hunting in Venice. I love my
That's a shocker.
I just love my a good mystery. A mystery movie can do no wrong for me. I just eat them up.
Yeah.
They could do 20 more of these, and I just. Well, the Death on the Nile was a casting disaster.
I was gonna say, Mummy on the Orient Express was good, but Death on the Nile just shut the bed. But Horn of Venice, like the trailer looked fantastic. So if it's your number 2,
I liked it more than Death on the Nile, definitely.
okay, good.
And
Okay.
well, Death on the Nile was also not that great, but also there were so many horrible people on this cast. It's amazing, kind of.
I think all 3 of those are on Disney Plus as well, aren't they?
I
Or
think a
Amazon.
Hunting in Venice is on Disney Plus. Let me take a
Disney
look.
or Amazon, yeah.
Yeah, it's here on Disney Plus. I think it's probably worldwide as well.
I think if you're in Europe, you got the same one as the rest of us, I believe. Apart
Yeah,
from the States.
for like movies that Disney produced.
Yeah. Cool.
And my number one, the second of the double movies, To Me, the One Who Loved You, which is way better than the blue one. And
That's a huge difference between the two places right there.
yeah, because I think the pink one is amazing. The blue one is kind of a weird spin-off supplementary story that
Okay.
you don't need actually. And it's filling holes that don't need to be filled, but it's like cute anyway, so it's not bad, but
Okay.
it's kind of unnecessary in a way. It's still good. It's just unnecessary.
Not essential, basically.
No, no, not at all.
Cool. Right. Well, I'll finish off the film section, I think, with my top 10, if that's all right with everyone.
Mhm.
I'll take it out with this. So my number 10 is Dungeons and Dragons: Honor Among Thieves. I saw it at a preview like a month and a half before it was due out, because I think they've tried to build word of mouth and knew they had something. And I was really pleasantly surprised. I thought it was better than it had any right to be. I wasn't expecting anything from it. I didn't think the trailer looked especially good. I have never played Dungeons and Dragons in my life, barely watched the cartoon or anything. And yet it's just a really cool, fun throwback adventure movie, and I loved it. So, yeah. I'd say I've seen 53, so there's going to be some that I liked that haven't made my top 10, but this is the actual top 10. My number 9 is The Marvels. Again, I'm unashamedly loved it. I don't know why it got quite a lot of flack. And if for no other reason than, Iman Vellani's in the movie and she's charm personified, and there's an entire scene of them trying to herd alien cats while Memory from the musical Cats plays. So, you've got me right there. Number 8 for me is Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, which we've talked about at length. Great movie. My number 7 is Tetris, which we've again talked about, Toby. Thank you for shouting that out. Yeah, I loved it. Apple TV Plus, I think, was where I saw that. And again, I would recommend anybody watch it if you're interested in history or biopics. Speaking of which, my number 6 is Air, which I really loved. I saw it at the cinema before it came to Prime Video. And again, I wasn't expecting anything of it. Didn't particularly think I cared about the story, but was gripped. My number 5 is Marcel the Shell with Shoes On. Thank you, Adrian.
Aw.
You weren't the only one that told me to go and see it, to be fairness. I had a lot of people and a lot of YouTubers that really bigged it up. And I know it didn't come out here till 2023, so that's why it's on my list. And I will see it. It's great.
Yes.
My number 4 is Mission Impossible: Dead Reckoning, Part 1. Again, we've talked about it at length. I just think it's a fantastic movie. It's long, but it feels, it moves at a quick pace. It doesn't feel long. The action scenes are great. There's a couple of good surprises in there. And it's got Haley Atwell in. So, yay. My number 3 movie, I'm really surprised didn't make anybody else's list, The Fabelmans.
That wasn't 2023.
Well, it was here. All right.
It was not.
Well, anyway, if you count it, it's my number 3 anyway, and I think it's probably Spielberg's best in a long time. And yeah, fantastic movie. My number 2 is A Good Person, which again is not on anybody's list and isn't a popular movie, but it was my number 1 for a long time. It's written and directed by Zach Braff and stars Florence Pugh and Morgan Freeman. And it's a powerful, hard-hitting drama, and that's all I'll say about that one. I think Will did see that and didn't like it, but
What film was that? Sorry,
A Good Person.
I haven't seen. I don't think I've seen that. No.
Okay, fair enough. I don't think a lot of people either did bother seeing it, or those that had didn't give it great reviews. But I really liked it. I think it's one of those films where you can just see 2 great performances throughout. Because Florence Pugh and Morgan Freeman are great actors anyway. So it's just like an hour and a half of watching them act, And my number 1 snuck in at the last minute and is Godzilla -1, which I was blown away by. I thought it was so brilliant. I understood all of the layers it was working on of metaphor and allegory. I think the action's fantastic. I think Godzilla has never looked better. The effects and things, some of the actions, just mind-blowing, especially seeing it on the big screen. And yeah, a great movie. I highly recommend everyone going to see it. So that's my top 10 films. And that'll conclude talking about movies, I think, unless you guys have anything else you wanted to shout out.
Is anybody looking forward to anything coming out in 2024?
That's a good question. I was going to do that last for everything, but we may as well.
Oh, okay. No, that's fine. That's fine.
We'll do it one section at a time. So yeah, movie-wise, what's everyone looking forward to? Because I've got my list of films that I'm interested in seeing, and There's 16 of them, and I'll be honest, none of them are particularly like I have to see it right now. But okay,
Yeah.
anything that stands out to anyone else?
Well,
I
I
mean-
haven't seen The Color Purple yet, even though that's this year. So I'm
Mm.
looking forward to that and Killers of the Moon. Oh, I don't know.
Killers of the Flower Moon that will.
Yes, yes.
That's number one. Cool.
Go ahead, Will.
That'll be available on Apple Plus soon, I think. I'm
Okay.
not sure when that's coming out. I don't think it's in the cinemas anymore, but it'll be coming to streaming very soon. They got like the exclusive rights. As for right now, I think there's quite a few films that are like out this week in the UK that I really want to go and see, like Priscilla. So I saw Elvis last year
Mhm.
with what's his name?
Why is this? I'm blanking on it.
He's in June. Austin Butler.
That's him.
Austin Butler, and again, it did shy away from the whole Priscilla like underage factor, and I was like, a film about Priscilla and her actual upbringing would be very interesting, like dynamic compared to what we saw with Elvis, which was a very sanitized version.
Yeah. Plus,
And
it's a Sofia Coppola movie, so
yeah,
you've seen Lost
And-
in Translation or Virgin Suicides or
exactly.
the Great Filmmaker.
And the thing is, the Elvis estate didn't actually enjoy or approve of the Priscilla film. However, Priscilla herself has come out and said, "I love it. It's brilliant." So that tells you all you need to know.
Mhm.
It's gonna be accurate. So I'm looking forward to that. Ferrari, that looks good. Connor, Esther, our good friends, Mike. He went to see it, and usually that guy's opinions are like out there, and I just don't agree with him at all. But it's a modest like 7 out of 10 review from him this time. So it's like I reckon it's gonna be good.
It's Michael Mann. It's going to be good. Come on.
Yeah, exactly. That's the biggest draw. Adam Driver, sure, but he was in 65, which is my worst film of the year for me. So, but Ferrari's getting good reviews and whatever. So yeah, I'll go see that. Wonka, if that's still on the cinema in a few weeks' time,
It is. Yeah.
that'll be worth a watch. I think then mostly it's just like the next Mission Impossible.
Well, that's not this year. Apparently, it's moved to the 2025.
Wait, has it actually?
Yeah, a while ago.
Oh, for God's sake. June. What else is coming out this year? The Batman Part 2, is that still out?
Nope, that's next year as well. 2025, I should say.
No. What's that?
There's almost nothing because of the strikes. That's what I mean. It's like I was sitting with my niece today because we visited my grandma for like New Year's Day, and she was like, "I think it's going to be a good year in films." I was like, "Are you serious? Everything's moved. The strikes have pushed everything to 2025, and then everything comes out at once. It's ridiculous."
Oh, the new Robert Eggers film is due this year. So
that's already out, isn't it? Oh no, the Nosferatu version. That's right. Yes.
Oh no, I just looked at that. It's coming out January 2025 as well.
Okay, never mind.
Like 2024 globally, but if we're using Mike logic, it's a 2025 film.
Well, I won't be able to see it till 2025. All right. So,
Yeah. What else is there? There's not much else.
you can go through what I've got on my list if you want, and you can see if you agree or disagree.
Despicable Me 4 is coming out, so if you're a fan of the Minions,
I am
then
not.
I know Mike isn't.
I'm looking forward to Kung Fu Panda and
Yes.
Inside Out, but mostly for me, I'm looking forward to Furiosa. I love the Mad Max movies.
Oh, Mad Max Fury Road. I don't understand the love of that
Love
movie.
those. Yeah. Can't wait to see Furiosa. I hope I'm not Furiosa because it's bad.
I just know Mike has got like a list of about 40 films that he's about to rattle off.
I've got 16, and some of the last ones on this are kind of like I was just trying to build up a list.
Have we heard anything about Aliens Romulus? Because
Alien
isn't
Romulus
it-
is on my list. I'm definitely intrigued to see that.
Yeah, I want to see that. I'm looking forward to that.
It's definitely coming out, and it's officially got a poster and a lot of information. Apparently, it takes place between the first and second
Yes.
Alien.
Yeah.
An
While
interesting
Ripley is still frozen, right?
It's
Or in
asleep, yeah.
cryo sleeper. Wow. Yeah, that sounds interesting.
Who's it by again? It's a really, I can't believe I'm blanking. It's a really well-known filmmaker. Fede Alvarez, that's right, who did Evil Dead 2013.
Oh boy. Okay.
So yeah, that's on my list. Do you want me to just go through it, Toby, or do you want to shout anything out quickly? before?
I can do some
Okay.
because one movie that you're not gonna mention because you hated the first one, and I'm gonna say that every time. Dune Part 2.
Yeah,
That's
Will did
it.
mention that one.
Yeah.
Enjoy being called senseless for 2 hours, everyone.
Otherwise, I actually quite looking forward to Challengers. I thought the trailer was kind of, I don't
Never
know,
heard
it
of
just gave me an interesting energy, and I was like, I'm into that. I kind of want to see this. What else? Let me think. Now I'm blanking.
I've got a list. I've got a
Wait,
list.
Madam Web, the trailer looked interesting.
Yeah, I thought so.
So, Wicked
Wicked
Part
Part
1,
One.
obviously.
You are just looking at my list here.
Joker 2, I'm looking
Oh, I
forward
couldn't give a
to.
crap about that. Sorry.
Well, Deadpool 3, obviously.
Yep.
Mm.
Will, how did you find the list?
I found a list on Letterboxd and like a load more films, and I'll pique my interest, like the new Joker, like Toby said, the new Sonic films coming out.
Oh,
Sonic
yeah,
3.
By the end of the
That's
year,
gonna
yeah.
be great. Ooh, yeah.
Also, yeah, Deadpool 3, Transformers is coming out again.
Transformers 1, yeah.
There's a new Gladiator sequel coming out.
Yep, Gladiator 2's out.
Oh, is that
Ridley Scott.
is that 2024? I
That's
thought it
this
was
year.
gonna be
apparently.
later.
The Bob Marley biopic, that looks interesting. I like the trailer on that. I've only heard about 3 of his songs, but why not?
Yeah, that does sound good.
Yeah, give the trailer a go. It looks good. The lead actor looks good. Beekeeper, saw the trailers again, very interesting. And that's about it. Oh, Night Swim as well. I saw that advertised. Very, very
No,
brief.
ages, dude. That was out last year.
Night Swim is a 2024 film, my friend.
Maybe I'm just used to seeing the trailer a lot then. Okay.
Yeah,
that
it's
looks
not.
really scary. I don't want to.
Yeah.
Nope, no thanks.
But you're
Yeah.
fine with the Alien movie?
Yeah, those are good.
And Theo would love this film if he is listening to this right now. There's a new Mean Girls film coming out.
Yeah, it's the musical adapted into a movie. Because the movie
love
spawned a musical, which has now spawned a movie much the same way The Color Purple has done, but they're not marketing them as musicals, which is weird.
Right.
So it looks like they've redone the movie again.
One of the films I'm definitely gonna make time to see is the John Wick spin-off Ballerina.
Yeah, that's my number
Anna
2.
de Armas. That comes out this year.
Yep.
Not sure when.
You've hit most of mine, but I'll go. This is basically my most to least anticipated. So my number 1 most anticipated is Godzilla X Kong: The New Empire, because I love monster movies and I loved Godzilla vs Kong. My number 2 was Ballerina. Then my number 3, Transformers 1. Then Beetlejuice 2, which is coming out this year for sure. Looking forward to that one. Madam Web, Deadpool 3, a film called Argyle, which is a bit of a mystery, but it is due out.
Yes.
Yeah, I heard about it. But the trailer just looked like The Lost City, but again. It didn't look very interesting because I was like, I watched The Lost City already. Why should I watch
The trailer was so stylized. It deserves a watch just because of the trailer and its editing. It's like the most
Well,
unique
there is a
trailer.
twist they're not revealing, but they say like it doesn't give it away in the trailer or anything, and it's a bit of a shock. So the trailer doesn't give you what the film is. And I think it's Matthew Vaughn.
Fair enough, but just from the trailer, I got The Lost City again. I was like, I mean, it's just the book Arthur turned action movie. And I'm like, I've seen this.
Fair enough. The next one on my list is Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. Then Sonic 3, Wicked Part 1, Venom 3, Alien Romulus, Mufasa the Lion King. Because I would normally not say that, but it's Barry Jenkins who did Moonlight.
Venom film.
Weird. Then Inside Out 2, then Craven the Hunter, just from sheer dumb curiosity. And then it's last on my list, but only because I haven't seen the trailer or anything yet, and I'm really intrigued by it. It's an anime film, Lord of the Rings, The War of the Rohirrim, which is due out in December.
Yeah, that
Lord of
sounds
the
really
Rings.
good.
Is
Yeah.
that the sequel for Lord of the Rings or something
No,
that
it's a
the fan fiction guy's
prequel.
getting sued over?
It's a
No.
prequel, right? I mean, I think it's before everything. I mean, it's got the Helm's Deep hasn't even been named yet, so
Yeah,
I think
it's
that's
the actual
about
guy's
that,
name after
probably.
King Helm or whatever is in the movie.
yes.
Yeah.
Because I
Should be good.
read that a fan wrote a prequel or sequel to Lord of the Rings, and now they're releasing something else. They're actually suing the guy who wrote the prequel or sequel, like not the actual guy, but the fan fiction writer, because he sold books and said this is like the perfect prequel, perfect sequel, whatever. And he initially sued the company, but then whoever wrote the Lord of the Rings, his estate or whatever, his lawyers have like taken him to court or something about it. So that's interesting.
Yeah, I gotta watch it just for the drama.
Yeah, bad PR is good PR. Whatever.
Fair enough. Cool. Well, so is everyone happy to stick around? Or does anybody want to shoot off or leave before we get into the next section?
It
Or
depends what the next section is, Michael.
the next section would be TV and streaming, because why not?
Okay.
So let me just, if I can share the screen. I don't think we're going to be joined by anyone. It doesn't look like Sandra or Alison.
Will, who is your Abby?
My avatar
Yeah, who is that?
is an amalgamation of two people. It's
horrible.
Matt Smith and Karen Gillan fused into one being.
It's so disturbing. And in a way,
Kind of hot, right?
yeah, but in a way, it looks like Jinx Monsoon. Toby, what do you think? Do you agree?
Honestly, yeah.
Yes, without her makeup, right?
Okay.
Mention it.
Ah, bless you all. So let me just get my notes up. So yeah, we'll move on to the next thing, which will be the TV and streaming of the year 2023. We don't cover it on the podcast, but I figure we do at the end of the year because it's interesting. And I definitely have lists of things that I've seen this year, and I've ranked them and everything. So why not? I used to always just put them on social media, my list of like top 10 TV shows and whatever. But yeah. So again, I'll start off by asking everyone in broad terms, what stands out from that you've watched that was released in 2023 on either TV or any of the many streaming services? Adrienne, we'll come to you first because we haven't done that yet.
Okay. Like the Fall of the House of Usher. I got to watch a lot of stuff when I had I was sick a couple times this year. At once I had the flu, and then once I got COVID. And so I watched some television, but for me, it was personally the year that I discovered Ghosts, the year that I discovered, I was asked to discover the Power Rangers, so that was exciting. And then mostly just my normal stuff like RuPaul and, just generics like that.
Fair enough. Cool. And what about you, Will? And if you chat for a little while, I just need to quickly run and grab a drink and turn my heating off. I'll be 2 seconds.
Oh Lord, he wants me to yap. I've seen bugger all. I saw Doctor Who. I saw Ted Lasso. I saw literally nothing else except from the Grand Tour specials. Doctor Who was interesting, even though I've absolutely ranted about it on the Pasty Sheep channel. So I don't really want to do it again. Toby, help me out, man. What have you seen? Have you seen much?
Yeah. Well, this was the year where I started the Buffy marathon. So
yes, we did start the Buffy. I hadn't talked about that yet. Yeah, that's pretty. Yeah, it's funny to see a show that came out long ago, but you spend your time watching it. So it's really new to me and Toby this year, which is kind of weird. But hey, welcome to this podcast.
Exactly, and you had a huge head start because you watched like one season in like 3 days, or what was that?
Oh, I was sick. I was just lying there in bed.
But I think I caught up to you now.
Yeah, you did.
And now we're
totally
both starting to get lazy.
Right? Now you just have to watch one particular Power Rangers and we'll be good to go.
I did watch the first episode of whatever it was that
and
then I just
Dino Rangers or Dino Fury. Yeah.
I watched the first episode on Netflix and I was like, I appreciate this. I am not the audience for this. I need to move on.
Yeah, I made myself the audience. I forced myself to be the audience.
And then you had time.
Right, true. And one of these days we'll do a RuPaul special thing just with ourselves. There's so much.
Everybody is the audience for Power Rangers. How dare you?
And did anybody else watch the Last of Us?
I didn't.
Oh, that was good. Oh yeah, I like that. And what about Umbrella Academy? Any other fans out here?
Last year, 2022 though, I think.
Oh, was it? Okay.
Because the final season's coming out this year, 2024.
Oh, right. That's true. That's true. And of course, what about Wednesday? Am I the only like?
That again was 2022, but
No.
yes, I did.
Okay. All right. Fine.
We talked about those last year.
Okay, but what about The Witcher?
I again didn't watch it. No.
Okay, well, I watched Witcher, and of course, it's the last season. I think they could have The Witcher, but they're not going to have our guy back. Our Henry Cavill. So he's not going to be playing Geralt. So I don't know if I'll go back to it, but I might give it a chance. But that's all I
It cast somebody else, hadn't it? It was
Yeah.
Hemsworth or something.
Yeah, they cut. So now I don't know if I'm interested, but I probably will be. That's my way. I get all upset by a casting change, and I'm like, oh, this isn't so good.
Excuse me.
And of course, I'm a huge Wheel of Time fan, so I don't know if we have any Wheel of Time people out here.
No, sorry.
Sorry, no.
Okay, all right. Well, I'm gonna back out. I'm gonna go on mute and let you guys have your fun.
No, it's cool. I mean, you will have seen some of the stuff that I'll bring up, I
Okay.
assume,
All right. Okay.
when I come to it. But yeah, so well, that was obviously everybody's general impressions of the year. But as you can see in my thumbnail, is there anything that stands out there that you might have seen this year?
Bro, all I've seen really is Doctor Who, and I've ranted about that so much on Past the Sheep. So, do I really want to do it again? Honestly, I watch too much, and it's not. Russell has not helped me out by chucking it all on iPlayer, including Classic Who. So whenever I'm waiting for the bus, or whenever I'm just waiting in general, I just chuck on Classic Who. I'm making my way through the Green Death as we speak. So yeah, Classic Who's
Doing that for years.
Sorry?
I've been doing that for years with the Blu-ray sets and everything.
Yeah, I mean it's not the way it was intended to be watched, just like on a bench waiting for the bus. But
I
that's
will say I
what
don't do that. And I do watch all the features and everything as well, which is why it's taking so bloody long to get through.
Oh
I'm
yeah,
currently on
because
season 20. But yeah. Yeah, I mean, we've talked about Doctor Who at length, but yeah, I did not like the 60th specials, but did like the Christmas special.
Yeah.
That's really all I can sort of say about that.
the second one was good, but was the worst of the celebrations. Like it was the strongest episode of the three, but the weakest anniversary special, the second one.
Yeah, I see. I just don't like those kinds of stories. I find them dull. There's not
I
really
liked it.
going on, and a lot of people did. I mean, I know Andy as well really bigged it up, but not for me.
I think it's like universally seen, except for Michael, as the best episode of the three. Wild Blue Yonder.
I haven't really watched it yet, in fairness, but I didn't like any of them. So, I mean,
You're so positive on the first one, which shocked me because I think it's like definitely the weakest. But yeah,
I gave it 2.5 out of 5. I'm literally halfway.
but
I
then
would
the
say-
other ones were like half a star and 1.5 stars.
That's why I'm rewatching. I feel like I'll probably appreciate the giggle more now that if I'm judging anything other than just the controversial ending of it.
Bro, you wrote your review 4 days before it aired.
Well, you know, got to be prepared.
Review and accidentally posted it 4 days before it aired. I was like, oh, Michael.
That wasn't the final review. That was a draft.
80% of it made it in.
It did. You're not wrong. Fair enough. So yeah, Toby, did we get your thoughts on Doctor Who? Because I'm assuming you watched them all.
Yeah, well, the second one was the best. The third one, I am in a conflict with, constant conflict.
Mhm.
I don't know. I want this to be better than I think it is. I think this is where I'm right now. Like, I see
Yeah.
a lot of things people said, and like I agree with this, but like I agree the execution is probably quite good, but like I would have not made this choice in the begin with. So I'm like, but not this choice.
Yeah.
I think the stuff that we see in the TV show is pretty inoffensive because it just says, oh, it was only a myth. And I was like, okay, Doctor Who has dealt with myths and whatever
Yeah.
in the past and whatever. That's fine. But then you have Russell T Davies in like extended media and says, oh, this has ramifications because of so-and-so, the third Doctor by regenerated. And it's like bullshit to that. Just what we see on TV is what I'm taking as like canon.
Yeah.
Russell just chats a load of waffle, I'll be honest.
I still
Yeah,
don't love that though. I don't love the
Yeah, I
fact that,
agree.
you know, it's the 60th anniversary specials were just basically exactly what I feared they would be, which was wow, wasn't series 4 great? And it
And
didn't
it
celebrate
was, to
the
be
other
fair.
part. I know, but like in 60 years, they didn't celebrate anything else. And even Russell T came out and said that's why they made Tales from the TARDIS, was because he didn't celebrate the 60th anniversary in any real way with the
Yeah.
special.
But then again, Day of the Doctor is like a fantastic episode, but only for 60 of its 75 minutes, only really celebrated and actually touched upon a plotline that started in 2005. It was only when we have the archival footage of all the Doctor saving Gallifrey, and then the scene that I think like justifies the runtime and whatever is the Tom Baker cameo, and I think that does the classic Who series
I did
justice.
the entire plot of that is something that happened between the classic and new series. It literally is the point of the story.
So, what do you mean?
Well, that is the point of Day of the Doctor, is that it's the War Doctor story more than anybody else's. So
Oh right, yeah.
it celebrates the history of the show in a fantastic way because it literally is something that happened off screen
It's-
between the two years.
It celebrates the wilderness years
Yeah.
as opposed to the 45 odd years that came before it.
Well, I would say it does a good enough job of respecting both things, but
Oh no, it's a great episode in my opinion. But then again, as a celebration goes, I think, and I don't rate this episode as highly as you do, but Power of the Doctor excels
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
at the actual celebration of the show in general. And as an anniversary special, I would choose Power of the Doctor over the 60th anniversary specials any day as a celebration.
The really weird thing is, somebody pointed out, and I would agree with this, that the Power of the Doctor is a much better celebration of Doctor Who 60 years, and the Giggle is a much better celebration of the BBC centenary, and yet it the opposite way around. And it's like, yeah, that's a good point. Because like the plot of the Giggle is the first TV and the guy that invented it and everything, and it's like that makes a lot more sense.
Honestly, I just don't know why Chris didn't stick around for like an extra year so we could write that as like the 60th.
Exactly, yeah.
Would have made more sense, but then again, I wouldn't have wanted like another year of special
Exactly.
and then another special this year, and then maybe like a gap year next year, like 2024, waiting for a new showrunner to produce their series and whatever. So I'm glad it went how it is because Russell T Davies is now like 3 series ahead, just like right in. Wow, he said he handed in like the finale script of his 3rd series.
I worry about that because I think that's overly cocky when you haven't even seen how things. And I don't like this attitude that he's got of like, I don't care what you think about things because I think they're great, and so you can review whatever you want. And it's like, dude, that's not a great attitude to have. Just I can do as I please.
Yeah,
I'm now in charge. So what are you going to do about it?
Right.
You know?
I think you were of this opinion, especially before the Christmas special, but for me personally, I can say I've enjoyed a full run of Doctor Who for about 10 years now. And when I put into that kind of perspective, I think, what the hell am I still watching the show for? Because I was so close to dropping out in series 13. I was 2 or 3 episodes into the flux, and I was like, this is so turgid. I cannot put myself through. It was episode 3, Once Upon a Time, and I just thought, this is the worst thing I've ever seen. This isn't what I want to be watching for the next month of my life. And I was so close to stopping, but I was like, no, Russell T Davies and whatever. It's the era coming to an end. Then Russell T Davies came round, and I was like, hell yes, we're going to go back to Russell T Davies 1 era, 2005 to 2009, peakness. And then we got the Star Beast, and I thought, this is as messy as Legend of the Sea Devils. What the hell is going on with the show that I love? And then Rob Blue Yonder came round, and I was like, okay, this is much better. Then we had the Giggle, which was again quite a mess. The more that I think about it, then you have the Church on Ruby Road, and then you have got the musical in the upcoming series. And I just think we have had a dance break or like a musical section in 4 of the latest 5 episodes. This isn't the show that I grew up with, because I saw some pushback to this. However, I do think it's becoming more Disney-ified. I think especially with the Giggle. I think the ending of the Giggle has the paw prints of Disney all over with like the editing. And I heard, especially with the Christmas special, I know this is a waffle, I'm sorry. Christmas special, it was shown to Disney executives and they reshot some stuff.
That's not what happened.
I mean, they reshot.
They made notes. They
They
said they wanted
put
the documentary
Shooty earlier in the episode, but that's all. I
Yeah,
thought.
and it wasn't shown to Disney executives, it was shown to people, as they always do. They show these things to a focus group and see what they think. And the focus
at
group
Disney. It was Disney's
Yeah,
doing.
but it's not people that work for Disney, it's just average people that watch these things like movies and stuff.
And it was the right choice.
and their opinion was
Absolutely
my
they hadn't
point
seen
is
hadn't seen the
that
Doctor earlier.
Doctor
They didn't
Who
reshoot anything. They
stopped
added it.
breaking into music every single episode.
You're talking to the wrong people there. Me and Adrienne loved Star Trek breaking into music for a full episode. So we're
No,
kind
but
of
every single episode.
I let them do it. I don't care. Why not?
Fair enough.
I don't think it's going to be as bad as all that, but it amazes me that.
Give me
like,
the Pierre Capaldi years back, man.
Yeah, right. That's when everybody stopped watching, dude. Unfortunately, yeah.
Series
Anyway.
10, maybe.
But
Right,
enough
yeah.
about that. It's amazing to me how divisive musicals can be, though. Because I did put a thing out for, well, I'll get to it later, but when I was asking about like Star Trek, it's amazing that everybody's favorite episode is the musical episode of Strange New Worlds, or they're complaining about it like it's killed their firstborn child. It's like, it's just music, guys, get over it. Jeez.
Yeah, it's just really upset some people, especially here in America. Like there are people that just can't stand to see their Star Trek people singing, but I just think these actors, they got that chance to do that, and I think it's wonderful.
I don't see the issue, and I don't see. It especially riles me when you get people that say, "I've not watched that episode because I don't like musicals." So, and it's like, well, then you can't judge it, can you? Because I fail to. I fail to understand anybody that writes off an entire genre and says, "I'm not watching that." And it's the same as the people that were like, "I'm not watching Lower Decks because it's a cartoon." That's
Right.
nonsense. Do you know
But
what I
it's
mean?
still very technical, and it was basically very sciencey. So
Yeah.
if you love Star Trek for the science and the technology, and then you'll love it.
And
I
I'll be honest, I
really
love
wish-
Doctor Who breaking into song in the Christmas
Look,
special as well.
In
So,
Day of the Doctor, I really wish they did a Doctor Who poop type edit where they got all the doctors singing about how they're going to save Gallifrey as they went to do it. I would have loved that.
well, make it yourself. But anyway,
You know what I mean. There's a time and a place, and from all the comments that I've seen, 95% of the people are saying it fell out of place, and I absolutely agree.
no, I
Like
disagree.
on paper, sure, but no, it's not for me. It's not. There's no place for it in Doctor Who. The musical episode is interesting, and I think that could work. But a musical number randomly in the middle of a quite serious episode.
Yeah, because
felt
it's not like
very-
Catherine Jenkins did an entire song in the middle of a Christmas Carol or anything.
Okay, but that was literally a plot point or whatever.
It's the same thing.
Now I feel like I have to watch this. I feel like I need to jump in and watch this.
It's a great song, to be fair.
Yeah.
There you go.
But anyhow, enough Doctor Who because Adrienne doesn't watch it, so she's probably bored.
No, I love listening to it. I love listening to it. Even though I'm not a fan, I love listening to you guys talk.
Fair enough. At least somebody does, I suppose. But yeah, I mean, we've talked at length about the MCU this year, but just to quickly recap, Secret Invasion was a disaster of epic proportions, and that's coming from me, the MCU's biggest defender. I think it was a mess. And I think Toby is the only other person that would have watched it.
Yeah.
You probably would agree with me
Yeah.
on that one.
It is a mess. Also, it is as big as a mess as the Flash. Honestly,
Yep. But I did like
maybe even worse. Now that I think, because the Flash is just unoriginal and boring, and this is just the politics of the series are just a huge disaster across the board.
The thing is, though, The Flash is a bad adaptation of a story where you can at least watch a good version of it, like at least two other forms. You can watch the cartoon film or the TV show. So there's versions of it out there. But this is the only version of Secret Invasion, and it's just horrible. It's just dreadful. Anyway. But yeah, as I say, I liked Loki season 2, and I will say I watched all of What If season 2, and whilst it's still a bit hit or miss like the first season, I do think the second season is better than the first. maybe it's just because I was watching it over the Christmas holidays, one a day, so I was feeling generous. But we'll see what Echo's like in a few days on the 10th of January when all 6 episodes drop on the same day, because that's a great sign. Yeah. Yeah, fair enough. That deals with the MCU. So this was also the year where it's amazing because I've got a list of like all of the new things that I've watched. And I won't lie, 90%, that's not an exaggeration, of these things are shows that have either finished or been cancelled. So everything that I've watched this year is gone. So there's a lot of
Honestly,
endings.
same for a lot of things.
So it was the year that the Arrowverse died officially, with the final season of The Flash and the announcement that Superman and Lois is ending next year. Did you watch either of them? Anyone?
I checked out of the Arrowverse. I was already behind by way too much, and at some point I don't know. It's just too much. Too much.
Yeah, I don't blame you, and I will say the final season of The Flash was good. It wasn't fantastic. It had a nice enough ending. Superman and Lois is a great show, but I could tell the writing was on the wall when they said it was only getting 10 episodes in season 4, and they've ditched all of the cast except the main 4 characters. I was like, okay, so this is going. Plus, with James Gunn in charge, and he wants everything to be part of this whole combined DC universe now. So,
I mean, that was gonna end regardless. Like, CW is like dead.
Yeah, exactly. But anyway, but yeah, we also saw the end of Titans and Doom Patrol, which I think were much better endings, especially Doom Patrol, which made me cry my eyes out at the ending of it. Such a great show that nobody watches. If you have a chance to see the 4 seasons of that show, I would recommend definitely doing that. Yeah, sorry, I'm just seeing that Alison's not going to be able to make it, apparently. So I don't know where Sandy is. She hasn't replied. Anyway, so yeah, I would say those were good. Let's see, what else have we got here? I know you did, Toby. You enjoyed watching Poker Face as well this year.
Yeah, I later than you, but yeah, I watched it.
I think it was great until the very last episode, we dropped the ball a little bit.
I think the last episode is like they needed to do this in a way, so I understand why it happened. But yeah, it is one of the things where I'm like, it's necessary in a way. Let's just get it over with and move on to the next season and do our usual stuff, because the other episodes were so great.
Yeah, fair enough.
I think I really like all of them. I'm trying to think if there was anyone that I didn't.
I liked all of them until that finale, but I especially loved
except the finale.
The episode with the film special effects guy, that was my favorite by far. I thought that was fantastic.
Yeah, that was cool. I also really liked the mountain.
Yes.
Snow Mountain one. That was cool.
It's like the second from last episode, I think, isn't it?
Yeah. Oh, and the retirement one. That was fun.
Oh, yeah, that was weird as well. Yeah, the former kind of hippies and anarchists. Yeah. I'm guessing, Will and Adrienne, you haven't watched Poker Face.
No, but it sounds good because I watched Russian Doll and I love her acting. And of course, I'm a huge Orange is the New Black fan. So
when it comes to Poker Face, I would say it's more serialized than this because there's like a storyline in the background. But I would say, if I had to describe it, I would say it's basically Rian Johnson, who did Knives Out, doing his version of Columbo. But Columbo is played by Natasha Lyonne.
Oh, that sounds good.
It's kind of like, yeah, it's so good. It really is. And it's such a cool throwback to those kinds of detective shows where they have, story of the week, but there can sometimes be a larger plot in the background as well. And I just love it. Even though, I mean, the central idea is something that should be ridiculous. This thing that's like, she can just tell when you're lying just because she has this kind of mental ability. Yet you don't question it at all. You're just like, yeah, okay. Why not? Anyway, so yeah, watch it.
Also great cast.
Yeah, all of the guest stars and everyone turning up.
So many great names in this cast.
Yeah, you could definitely play Spot the guest star, just like, again, classic detective shows and stuff. So, yeah. Will, did you watch Poker Face?
Are we speaking about Lady Gaga here? What's going on?
No, I'm talking about the TV show.
Never even heard of it, my friend.
What?
You've seen Knives Out and Glass Onion, right?
Yes, I have.
Okay, what's the same?
They've released the third one.
Okay.
They have?
No, it's a TV show, but it's made by Rian Johnson, the director of those two, and the director of the critically overhated Star Wars The Last Jedi. Oh, no. We've currently been attacked by 7,000 YouTube channels calling us woke. Anyway,
This movie is good, and I will always defend it.
thank you. I agree. But yeah,
and it just keeps getting better with every year, I think.
fair enough. I'm guessing I'm the only one here that watched Gen V, the spin-off from The Boys.
I
Oh,
haven't.
nope.
I haven't even seen The Boys.
Yeah,
Okay,
that's
fair
supposed to
enough.
be good. I do want to watch The Boys.
I would not recommend you watching The Boys.
Oh, is it
You-
bad? Is it
You will not like it, trust me.
okay. Fine, crossed off my list. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Yeah. But yeah, I like Gen V a lot as well. Which is a rare spin-off that I think is as good as the parent show. I look forward to series 4 of The Boys, and at least one of you must have watched Fall of the House of Usher, other than just me,
Oh,
right?
yes, that was so good.
That was so good, wasn't it?
It was so good. You guys haven't seen it? You other? Will,
No.
Toby? Oh,
No.
it was really good. If you're an Edgar Allan Poe or any kind of literature person, it's just great.
The Poe references were insane. There were
Yes.
so many of them, and there
So
was even some
many.
that went over my head. And then when I looked them up, I was like, "Oh wow, that was such a subtle, cool." I get it now, you know.
Mhm.
So yeah, such a cast, and just, I mean, Mike Flanagan, the man is an absolute legend.
He is. I
Probably the
agree.
best writer and director working today.
Yeah, right. Yeah, his shows are great. All of them. I love all of them.
Haunting of Hill House, Bly Manor, Midnight Mass. Yeah,
I
and
watched all of them. Yeah, huge fan.
Dr. Sleep, he wrote and directed. Well,
Yeah.
directed since it's
I
based on a
like
Stephen
that.
King book. But yeah,
Mhm.
I love that movie. And a ton of others. I mean, he did a film with Karen Gillan years ago, Will, that you may have seen. Oculus, I think it's called. Anyway, that's neither here nor there. But no, yeah, that's probably a strong contender for one of my top shows of the year, Fall of the House of
Mhm.
Usher. And again,
Yeah, and my husband loved it too.
really?
Oh
Is he a-
yes.
Is he a big
watched-
Edgar Allan Poe fanatic?
Yes, actually that he is, but we watch all of his stuff together. You know, if we can watch something together, then it makes it something that I love. And this was something we looked forward to. And I just thought the ensemble is so great. Oh yeah, so good.
I know he uses the same actors all the time.
Mhm,
That was the other thing that he did was the Midnight Club, because I noticed a lot of the actors from that randomly
Yeah,
appearing
that's
now.
younger actors
Yeah.
that came back and were in this show.
Yeah, for sure.
Really good stuff.
Can't believe that show got cancelled, but I think it was Sandy that sent me the link that because Mike Flanagan wrote what was going to happen in season 2, so that you can actually look it up if you feel like I do, that you like gutted that season 1 ended with cliffhangers and didn't carry on.
Yeah.
Yeah, look it up. It's fantastic what they were going to do in series 2 if they had went ahead. Should have.
Mhm. Yeah, David didn't like that one, so I understand. I guess it seemed to him the actors were annoying. That would be the word he used.
Well, they're very young, and I think
Yeah,
they're
Probably
going through a lot, so I think they're kind of designed to be unlikable but sympathetic in a weird way.
yeah.
Anyway,
Mhm.
yeah, it's weird because I always find when you ask people to rate the Mike Flanagan shows, they're always different opinions. So I would say that I loved House of Usher, but for me, it's the weakest of the sort of main 4 or 5.
Mhm, mhm.
With Bly Manor being my number 1. And I'm
Oh.
guessing, yeah, I know.
Yeah, that's unusual.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I understand. Yeah.
But yeah, so I'm guessing you would think differently.
Yeah, I mean, I like Hill House. That's just the best one.
That is my
Have
number
you- Have you guys, either of you, seen The Haunting of Hill House, or you just haven't watched any Flanagan stuff?
I haven't at all.
Oh, okay. There's some mystery involved, Toby. So hey, maybe, but you might have.
They're all on Netflix, and I think they're only like 8 episodes each. So
Yeah,
if you
they're
ever get a chance to
so
chuck something like
good.
that on, yeah.
Yeah, The Haunting of Hill House. My husband's so funny. Like he couldn't watch it during the nighttime. We had to watch it during the day, like with all the windows open, and like has to be sunshine and.
It's weird though because he keeps popping in like hidden ghosts in that show.
I
And
know.
if you spot one in the background when you're just watching alone in the dark. It's like, no.
Yes. Yeah, that's exactly what happened. He saw some movement in the background, rewinded it, and it's a ghost, and it's a
Yep.
scary ghost. So he's like, nope. We're watching this during the day.
Exactly. But such good shows, definitely recommended. I think that's basically gonna, unless anybody has anything else they want to shout out, we can always go into probably finishing off with top 10s if anyone has them of things you've watched this year. Anything else or
I don't
no?
have anything.
I mean, I don't have a top 10, but I will just use my top 10 segment to shout some things out.
Okay, fair. Well,
Let's
just
just say
mention
that.
10 things that you saw that you liked for sure. And how about you, Will?
Nah, I haven't seen any TV shows really, so can't give a top 10. Can't even give a
Really?
top 2.
Okay. Fair enough. Well, I'll go through mine, and
That's
if you guys want to shout out
binge.
something at the same time, you can do. Do you have a list, Adrienne, of
I
anything?
have a list. I can read it real fast. And
Go for it. No,
okay.
take-
Let you finish up with all of your glory. Okay. Well, I'm just going to put out here that I didn't watch it because everybody was mean in it, and I don't like mean people. But David loves Succession because it's the
Yeah, I've never
final.
watched it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm not into mean families, so I did never watch it. But I liked my number 10 is Cosmic Fury.
Yay!
It made it. It's a great little show. I love those characters. So hey, go Power Rangers. Then I got the British Baking Show from 2023. I got RuPaul All Stars and then RuPaul regular for 2023. I
Oh, wow.
watched the 1619 Project. That's just great information. Last
Oh, yeah,
of
I
Us,
heard about that.
The Witcher, and I've got Amazing Race from the 2023 season, and I've never watched Amazing Race before because people were mean to each other, but the 2023 season is lovely. There's a deaf contestant. He's a father, and he's racing with his son. And they were amazing and just great. And then Fall of the House of Usher, and my number one for me personally was the Wheel of Time TV show.
Okay, cool.
Yeah,
Yeah, I know you're a big fan. It's not something I've watched, but I can definitely see why. It's
right. It's got good stuff, and it's okay to watch it. There's only 10 episodes per season, and you don't have to know anything about the books.
I'm assuming from the lack of presence in your top 10 that you've listed the Star Trek shows separately.
Yes, those would be. Oh, did you put your Star Trek shows here?
I did when I made the top 10 list of shows because I was like, well, they are TV shows that I watch. So
Oh, okay. No, I didn't. I don't. Those don't count. Those have their own lives.
Fair
Because
enough.
Star Trek would be my top 3, and then Cosmic Fury would drop off, and I don't want to break your heart.
Mine are way more
Nice.
randomly placed than that. But
So.
cool. So, Toby, what did you want to shout out then?
Yeah. We haven't talked in the DC section about Gotham Knights, which I am probably the only person on the earth that actually thought it was good/okay. I quite like it wasn't great, but it was nice entertainment for the time being.
Okay.
I don't know. It was kind of like very YA, maybe even Riverdale. Like I haven't watched Riverdale, but like I know the vibe of it.
Okay.
And I quite liked it. I recently finished A Murder at the End of the World, which I really thought was great. I watched the first episode and then just dropped it because I was like, I don't like this. And then randomly, when like 5 or more episodes were already out, I'm like, I'm going to give it a second chance. And it gets so much better after the first episode. Yeah, we talked about the Marvel stuff. I really love The Ark, which is a sci-fi show from the Sci-Fi Channel, it's made by like the people behind Stargate. I haven't watched Stargate, but just to push a name. And it's a sci-fi show, but it's a little bit silly at times. So it's more dramatic than like there are a lot of things where like I don't know about this one, but if you are just here for the drama of it, then I think it's gonna be a great time. And I was there for the drama. I really liked it. What else? Some sitcoms I really liked. I liked the Night Court reboot. I love American Auto. Not Dead Yet was this year as well. So some sitcoms I really liked.
Never heard of that.
I think they're not dead yet. That sounds cool.
It's a sitcom. It's basically a woman that writes obituaries in a newspaper, and she can see these dead people that she's writing obituaries for, and they are just giving her life advice. It's it's classified as a sitcom, but it's honestly quite emotional at times. So
Oh,
it's,
that
it
sounds
has a lot of
really
heart,
good.
and I really like this show. It's not laugh out loud funny. It's more it's more dramedy, I would say, than really
Yeah.
outright sitcom. But it's in a 22-minute sitcom style shot. That's why I think it's classified that way.
Oh, okay. I'm gonna look it up.
I've just quickly checked the YouTube live chat, so I will say hello, Phantasm Lovecraft, who just said hello, and Jewel Rowe simply says British baking show big ups. So she agreed with your.
Oh, bro, yay! That's a good
And-
show. I always
yeah.
cry at the end.
And the last one I want to shout out is Only Murders in the Building season. Are we at season 3, 4? Season 3, I think it was now. Season 4 is announced. I love the show so much. It's probably my favorite TV show at the moment.
I hear a lot of
It's
good
an-
things, but I've just never sort of sat down to watch it or anything.
It,
Yeah. Okay.
It's quite funny at times, but it's just also a really good mystery. So it's really good serialized murder mystery over 10 episodes that has a lot of heart. I really like it.
Aw.
Cool. Okay, well, I'm going to quickly go over my list. If there's anything that you want to kind of talk about or mention or stop me if we hit to them, by all means do. And I
Okay.
will mention what's been concluded and cancelled because that's the majority of them. So I've got a top 20 things that I've seen outside of the top 20, but other stuff that I have seen that I'll mention are Not Going Out, the sitcom, which I enjoyed, except the Christmas special, which I didn't love. Disenchantment, which is now concluded on Netflix, which was decent. Family Guy, which is still standard. The Connors, which has been renewed for one last series but cancelled, and which I really like. I think I'm the only person currently watching that though. Doctor Who, obviously, we've talked about, ad nauseum. American Dad, likewise, just something that I put on. And I did watch The Mandalorian, but I didn't love it, and I did not watch Ahsoka, which is why I haven't mentioned it.
Yeah, I watched Mandalorian and yeah.
Yeah.
There were some choices made that I just didn't like. I don't know. I think the focus of the series is just not one I would have done the way. I don't think it's even bad, but it's just not something. I don't know. The story is going in directions that I don't like.
I've hopped off. I'm like Will with the Marvel stuff. As soon as it got to be a matter of you have to have seen all of the Star Wars cartoons to watch the shows, I was like, well, I'm out then. I can't be bothered with that.
Honestly, I still haven't watched the last 2 episodes of Ahsoka. It came out at the time where I was really busy, and I just couldn't at this time, and then I just never. I used the December to catch up on a whole bunch of TV shows that I started and never watched, and this is the only one that I couldn't fit it in anymore.
Yeah, fair enough.
Oh, I want to shout out the One Piece live action. That was
Okay, cool. That was got terrible reviews, but did you like it then?
What got it terrible reviews? I think all the fans liked it really.
Okay, well, I only ever
Well,
saw
I
like
don't-
YouTube channels.
I don't know about general public, but all the fans really thought it was great.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah, the only other 2 shows I wanted to mention that aren't in my top 20, but I did enjoy. They're both from the continuing Monsterverse, the Godzilla, King Kong, etc. movies that are going on, but they're TV shows, and one of them is an animated Netflix show called Skull Island, which was decent, but ended on a cliffhanger, and it's worrying because it's probably not going to get continued. And the other one is still ongoing, and that's Monarch: Legacy of Monsters, which I know isn't hugely popular, but I'm really enjoying. I just wish they hadn't entirely focused on Godzilla and nothing else, because I prefer King Kong, man. But anyway, so getting into my top 20 then, from 20 to 1. What was that?
We're excited. Keep going.
Okay, so from 20 to 1, number 20, Power Rangers Cosmic Fury, which is concluded. Then Young Sheldon, which again has been renewed for one last series, which is due to start soon and has been cancelled. The Flash, which concluded after 9 seasons. The US version of Ghosts, which to the best of my knowledge hasn't been cancelled yet. Titans.
No, it hasn't.
This year.
I know that.
Scott
That's
Pilgrim
so
Takes
good,
Off, which I
Ghost.
enjoyed on Netflix as a different take on Scott Pilgrim. Sorry, did I interrupt you guys? Sorry, you were talking about Ghosts US.
I just love that show. I'm so glad you asked me to watch that or suggested it.
You
to
watched
me.
the UK one. I didn't ask you to watch the
Oh, well, I didn't realize, and I started watching the American one. It was so good. I just kept watching it.
American one's good, but the UK one's so much better. But anyway,
I dropped out of the US one somewhere towards the end of the first season. I was like, no, I need to
Right.
drop this.
Yeah,
still
I
like
get
it.
it.
I pushed a lot, but at some point it was just like, I don't know. It just wasn't interesting to me.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Where was I? So then carrying on from there, Archer, which concluded this year, or last year, I should say, as well. Then Superman and Lois, which again, as I say, has now been cancelled, but will have 10 last episodes. Then I really liked the Netflix revival, That 90s Show, which again, I think hasn't been cancelled. It only got like a few episodes, but it's surprisingly good. Then, as we've talked about, Fall of the House of Usher, which is concluded. Gen V, which I liked. Star Trek Picard, which I think, I don't rave about it the way that a lot of Trekkies do, but it certainly was the best of the 3 seasons, and that has also concluded. The next one is a show called Shrinking, which is on Apple TV+. It's by the people that made Scrubs. It's basically Harrison Ford and Jason Segel play therapists, and it's a comedy sitcom, and it's good. You should watch it. Then next will be Doom Patrol, which again is cancelled. Then Star Trek Strange New Worlds. Then Poker Face. Then How I Met Your Father, which I loved, but again, I think I was the only person watching it, and it has, of course, been cancelled. Then the reboot of Frasier, which I was not expecting to like, and then it completely surpassed all my expectations to be my number 3 show of the year. Yeah, very bizarre that happened, but give it a watch. It's on Paramount Plus if you have it. My number 2 is Ghosts UK, which would have been my number 1, except I really didn't like the way the Christmas special ended. I think they should have just ended it after the actual 5th series, rather than have that little coda, but that's just me. And so my number 1 is Ted Lasso, which again we talked about. I think that's a perfect 3-season show, and it ended on a very emotional. Yeah. Sorry, what was that, Will?
Until the finale. Shut the
I
bed.
love the finale.
We never agree, do we?
I got deeply emotional at the finale. What are you talking about?
It's a great show. It's a great show.
It was 3 great seasons of a show. I don't think it should have ended. I would rather it carried on. I think there was still more they could do, but the 3 seasons that are there are fantastic. And it's the TV equivalent of Marcel the Shell. Everyone should watch it, dang it. So yeah.
It's also great, even though it's a football show, it's not just football.
Oh yeah, it's not just about that at all.
In fact, it's like only about 10% football. So yeah, give it a watch. Good
Definitely. Fantastic sort of dramedy, I would say, with some fantastic acting and great performances. And those actors are going to go on to huge things. They already kind of are. So.
Yeah, I mean, what was his name? Goldstein. He was involved in the Saranga conundrum. So, great things.
He also appeared as Hercules in 3 seconds of Thor: Love and Thunder.
Another great thing.
Those post-credit sequences that we'll never see these people again.
Come on, Harry Styles. When are you coming in?
I was just going to say he's sitting there in a back room with Harry Styles.
Yeah.
So are we going to get our films or what?
That is one guy I would like to see in the Marvel universe a bit more.
Who?
Harry Styles.
It's out.
Well, at least it will give some sort of they're actually going forward with one of these characters and stuff, and not just.
I want to see them do something with any of these post-credit scenes, but we'll
exactly.
Yeah.
Don't Worry, Darling has me traumatized by Harry Styles' acting.
Oh yeah, he was good at Dunkirk, but he did fuck all.
Don't Worry, Darling. Also, I just watched because the production was such a mess. I'm like, I need to see what happened. At the end, I need to.
What are we talking about? You've lost me now.
Don't Worry, Darling, and from last year.
Okay, fair enough.
Also on TV shows, I want to shout out one as I keep reminding of things. The 3rd season of the iCarly revival. I want to shout.
Also cancelled.
Yeah, on the cliffhanger, exactly.
How I Met Your Father is my iCarly, but I haven't ranted about that. But yeah,
is it also a cliffhanger that was absolutely not necessary? It could have just not done
100%. But it's like How I Met Your Mother, so the whole thing is literally it's narrated by a character, and it's like the story of how they met.
Yeah.
So they have made no effort to wrap that up. But I got really invested in the other characters, and it ends the season with basically. And these characters broke up and started seeing other people. But as you know, they did eventually get together and have a baby. So I'm going to tell you that story now, next year. And it's like, no, you're not.
Yeah, exactly that. Unnecessary things.
Yeah, just dumb. But yeah, so that concludes the TV and streaming. So I think the only thing left for us to talk about is probably Star Trek. So, does anybody want to bow out before we do? Or?
I mean, I don't have anything to talk about.
Oh
yet,
man.
Goodbye.
Okay, but Toby, before you go, my friend, you mentioned you may at some point in your life watch a Star Trek show, and I'm putting you on the spot here, but I was wondering which one interests you most?
I already know which one I'm going. Well, it's about two. Either I'm just going to go chronologically,
Okay.
but
all
if
right.
I'm not going to do that, then it's definitely Voyager.
Wow. Oh gosh. Oh, starting with the crazy dark stuff, but you're gonna love Captain Janeway. She's just
Voyager
she's
isn't dark.
incredible. Oh, there is some dark turns, and
Oh, there
when you
is
compare it
dark.
to, well, no, not compared to some.
It's not like
but-
he's mentioning DS9 or Enterprise.
True, yeah. Don't start with Enterprise. That one's way too heavy. Deep Space Nine is also really, really heavy. But I'm excited. I've just been wanting to know this whole time, so I'm exciting. And Will, are you going to continue on? You think?
Absolutely in release date order, not chronological.
Okay, release date order.
Good luck
Okay.
getting through the animated series.
Thank you, my friends. I know it's very popular.
Okay, I'm excited. Okay, great. That's such wonderful news to hear. Yeah, I'm excited for you guys. I hope you talk about it. I hope you come into the
Will's
Discord and
gonna be
talk
on the
about
episode
it.
where I'm going to quiz him when he's on the actual podcast
Of
about
the original series, yeah.
Oh, no quizzes. Ugh,
I'm gonna get
I'm
like
so
oh,
anti-quiz.
No, not
Oh.
literally. I'm just going to ask him like, "Oh, you've seen all of them, so
Oh, what's your favorite episode?
Oh,
one?"
okay,
Just
okay.
go
And in
for it.
20 years, we'll come back after he's watched the first episode of Lower Decks and see what he thinks.
It's funny that you should mention that because I do have a 2023 quiz I was going to pitch to Mike at some point.
Oh, okay.
Oh, that sounds
What
fun.
was
Yeah.
that for?
Sorry?
What was that for? When were you going to do that?
Oh, I was going to do like a 2023 Big Fat Quiz of the Year, the show that Jimmy Carr does. For
Oh,
my
yeah.
personal YouTube channel, but it just never actually happened. So I was like, oh, why not do it today?
We could have, but you didn't mention it.
I'm mentioning it now.
Well, have you got it with you? Because we could do it if you want.
Yeah. I'll whip it
Okay.
up.
I can delay talking about Star Trek for a bit if you want.
Are we doing a
Big Fat
quiz?
Quiz of the
I love a
Year.
good quiz.
It's very
I'm
UK.
horrible at quiz.
Well,
I
Quiz
do
is
not
one of
like
them.
quizzes. I know.
Adrian, I'm not keeping you, by the way. Because you mentioned you want to go to the cinema or something.
That's later. That's going to be later on tonight. But I'm not. I probably won't participate in the quiz because I detest them. But I will listen. Woo!
Awesome. So this is a quiz about all things of Earth in 2023. So there's a lot of date questions, but just to provide the date to give some context to the questions, so to make it a bit easier, supposedly. Right. So effectively, I'll just give you the question, and then first person to get just say it out loud. So you get a point. I'll keep track of the points actually. Oh, let me get some paper.
Yes,
Mike's going to take this very, very seriously.
I do this every time I'm doing a quiz. I'm always just like, I ask the first question, then remember that I've actually got to write down everybody's name and keep score. Oh, yeah, that probably is an important part of the process, isn't it?
Yeah, there you go. I forgot the names. Right, so first question, guys. On January 10th, Prince Harry, Duke of Sussex, released his tell-all memoir. What is it called?
I have heard of this and I cannot remember what it's called. So.
I don't remember the name.
I just remember the audiobook about him talking about his frostbite.
Yeah. that I remember. And I wish I would not.
the best soundbite to come
That
out.
was on the Big Fat Quiz of the Year, wasn't it? Charles Dance reading about that.
Probably.
It was. I watched it, yeah.
Oh. Any ideas?
No, it's something like
No.
it's a really weird title, like Smashed or Cracked or something, I think, isn't it?
Adrian?
Well, I just looked it up since I'm not participating.
Oh.
Wow.
So I know the answer, but I'm
You
not.
shouldn't have said. You should have just said, and then made Will think you were just really clever.
No, I
Called
freaking-
Spare.
What's it called?
Spare.
Spare, yeah.
Okay.
I don't know why. All right.
Spare.
They're
Very
just
good
spare
so
child
far,
or
guys.
whatever.
Second question.
Or he likes bowling.
On February 28th, the FBI publicly confirmed they believed COVID-19 originated from a lab in what Chinese city?
I know this one.
Wuhan?
So do I.
Wuhan.
Okay, Toby and Mike get a point. There we go. Third question. On March 17th, the International Crime Court issued an arrest warrant on whom?
Andrew Tate, was it that?
Nope.
When was this? Sorry, repeat the question because I'm confused
On
about it.
March 17th, the
March 17th.
International Crime Court issued an arrest warrant on whom?
March 17th is
I
St.
hope
Patrick.
they get him.
Was it St. Patrick? It
No.
wasn't. Hang on. It wasn't like Donald Trump, was it?
No, but you're getting close. It's a bad guy. It's a
Um,
bad guy who's committing war crimes and he's still doing it.
Oh, Putin.
Putin.
There we go. I'll give Toby the point because he was the first to say it.
Go for it.
I'll give Adrian a point as well, of course. Right. Fourth question. Mike, if you don't know this, I will be fuming.
Get
In
ready to
what
view.
month did the Writers Guild of America go on strike?
July.
No.
June.
No.
It started because I was it started when I was still working in the spring, towards the end of the spring. I remember seeing the folks picketing, but I don't remember what month.
Give me a month. Just give me a month.
Oh.
Me.
Get the point. Oh, bugger off, Mike. Yeah, you got the point. It was May. You didn't Google that, did you?
No, I figured that was the only one that was left.
Okay. Right, another question that you should know the answer to. What Star Wars actress was awarded a Hollywood Walk of Fame star on May 4th?
Oh.
Oh.
Oh, wow. Okay.
It wasn't. Hang on, that would make no sense.
Star Wars actress. Come on. What's the one that pops up?
It wasn't
Carrie Fisher?
Daisy Ridley, was it?
No.
No. It wouldn't have been
Somebody-
Carrie Fisher because that would be posthumous, wouldn't
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but I just said it anyway.
Toby
because
said it.
Oh, it was Carrie Fisher, yeah. Toby
Oh,
gets the
okay.
point.
Really?
Yeah,
I'm amazed she didn't have one already. But
I
okay.
know. You got a Hollywood Walk of Fame star this year. Anyway, Toby gets the point. Toby's in the lead with 3, then Mike with 2, then Adrian 1, but I don't think you'll participate, are you? Or are you?
She doesn't mind. We can just give her points anyway.
Yes, here's the point.
I'll give you another one, why not?
Yay.
Here we go. To the nearest 100. Ocean Gate's Titan submersible was found how many meters away from the Titanic?
500.
Oh,
50.
spot on.
Oh.
It was 500. I think it was like 468, something like that. So yeah, to the nearest 100,
I must have
500
read
meters.
that and took it in somewhere because
Yeah.
I don't know where I pulled that from.
Nice one. So on July 8th, Elton John ended his touring career with a performance in what country?
Oh, now you're asking. I'm
This
gonna-
is a really difficult question. I
I'm
don't know
gonna
why. I
fire
asked-
a random guess and say Dubai.
No.
It was at some festival, I think, but I don't know where.
Any idea, guys?
UK.
I don't feel comfortable guessing again. 'Cause I got it wrong.
Sweden. It was Sweden. I want to go there in a
Okay.
million years.
Oh, that's neat. that
Give
he ended
Adrian the
there.
point.
Oh,
Sure, why not?
Knew it.
Okay. On what date did Barbie and Oppenheimer release simultaneously?
ooh,
It was July
that'd be the summer.
the 7th.
Nope.
July.
I don't know if this is a hint
4th?
for you guys, but it's very close to my birthday. So if you know my birthday, Michael, you should know.
I know it's the summer. I know it's probably July, but I don't.
It might have been earlier than that. It might have been June.
It's
Oh.
July.
Okay.
But what's the date?
July.
I already guessed, so I'm going to let you two have a guess before I go again.
I mean, I guess July 4th.
Mm-mm. Right towards the end. Towards the end of July. July 20th.
No, one day out. It was July 21st.
I was going with a point. Come on. We're definitely
Sure, I'll
closer.
give you the point. You got the
Closest one.
means you're in the lead.
Oh, jeez. That's hilarious.
No pressure.
I'm not in it.
On August 19th, the Luna 25 lunar lander, that's a tongue twister, mission crash landed on the moon. What country was responsible for the mission?
Russia?
Correct.
Wow.
Nice
Good
one.
one.
Mike. Okay, another moon related question. On August 23rd, 4 days later, what country was responsible for landing a spacecraft on the moon's unexplored South Pole?
India?
Correct.
Wow, good
I
job.
know space stuff.
Yeah, you do.
I don't know. In what month was Donald Trump's mugshot taken?
August.
Correct.
Oh,
I'm
come on,
storming ahead.
chronological order now.
The
Good guess, Mike.
Eurovision Song Contest 2023 took place in what city?
Oh,
Oh God, where was
was
it?
it Manchester?
Nope.
It was in the UK though.
Liverpool?
Correct. Toby gets a point. Nice one.
Well done, Toby.
On August 20th, the England women's football team lost 1-0 in the World Cup final to what country?
Germany.
Spain.
Toby gets another point. It was Spain.
I know that because of that one scandal with this guy kissing
The captain, yeah.
yeah.
I wonder what he's up to nowadays. Anyway,
I wouldn't have known if you asked the question the other way around.
yeah.
But
Oh,
I remember Spain.
If you guys don't know this, then just wrap the podcast up now. On January 1st, what actor was hospitalized? I'm not even going to say the entire.
Jeremy
question.
Renner?
Correct. Michael gets the point.
I knew where you were going with that.
Yeah. List the 3 highest grossing films of the year as of December 9th. Again, that's when I wrote the question. It's probably
Super
the same.
Mario Brothers, Oppenheimer, and Barbie.
What was it?
Super Mario Brothers movie, Oppenheimer, and Barbie.
No, I want the order as well.
Oh, so Super Mario Brothers, Barbie, and Oppenheimer.
Yeah, give the other 2 a go.
Okay.
Highest grossing films of the year in order from the most
Coming out this year or leftovers as well?
films that were released this year.
Okay. Because I was thinking maybe the Avatar movie kind of blended in, but if that doesn't count.
No.
I think Mario Bros. Is number 1, followed by Barbie. I don't know if Oppenheimer is 3, but what else could it be?
It might be a Japanese or a Chinese film because often they sneak in there, but I don't know.
Yeah.
No, I haven't heard any of that this year.
No, Guardians of the Galaxy didn't make more than Oppenheimer. No, I'm sticking with Oppenheimer as number 3. So Mario Brothers, Barbie, Oppenheimer, 1, 2, 3.
Incorrect.
Oh.
Adrian, do you ever get?
Okay, well, they both started with Oppenheimer and Mario Brothers as number 1, so I guess Barbie is number 1 if they're wrong.
Mario Brothers is definitely number 1, by the way.
Oh, was it? Okay.
I'm pretty sure Mario Brothers and Barbie are correct, but number 3 might not be Oppenheimer.
Oh.
Adrian, ignore Michael.
Okay, never mind.
What you were saying.
Oh, geez. Oh, my gosh.
Barbie is number 1 by 100 million.
You're kidding.
Are you talking domestic or international? Because that's
We're
not
talking
true.
worldwide.
Okay, I'm gonna look. Up
Oh, my gosh. Okay, so that would mean it would be Barbie, then Mario, then Oppenheimer.
Correct.
Oh!
So Barbie made 1.4 billion. The Super Mario Bros. Film made 1.3 billion, and then Oppenheimer made 955 million. So yeah,
Oh, okay.
well done.
Nice.
You get the point.
All right, I'll take it.
Mike's trying to prove me wrong, but I'm right. So screw you, Michael. Where's my pen gone?
No, you are right. I'm just, I amazed. I had no awareness of this. I honestly thought Mario Brothers had stormed it, but yeah.
Right, so we've got 4 questions left, and the scores are as followed: Mike 7, Adrian 5, Toby 5.
Nice.
Please don't
Yay.
let me win this. He wins everything.
Me, I win nothing.
Right.
I lose at life, dude.
Okay, Mike, do not answer this question.
What? Okay.
It's a
Because I know
tiebreaker.
you'll know it straight away. The Eras Tour concert film grossed $246 million, but who was the performer?
Taylor Swift.
Toby gets the point.
Toby was equally likely to know that, by the way.
Yes, he was.
Sorry so much. Okay, fair enough. My bad. Right. Okay, this is a good question. My favorite question. How many videos has Will Sampler released on his main YouTube channel this year?
I don't know.
Oh,
6.
this year.
Am I close with 6?
No.
So you've done Come Dine With Me. You've done at least 2 football ones, bungee jump.
Maybe it's 12. Did you do one each month?
I did.
I'm just gonna go in between and say 9.
I did
I've watched
9. Toby gets the point.
Wow, Toby! Congratulations.
Obviously, I knew this.
Yeah, you did knew. So, Michael, for your sake, I did cup games. I did cook off.
Cup.
I did Jeopardy. I did 2 football
Jeopardy?
videos.
Of
Then I
course.
did a food challenge. Then I did another football video. Then I
Oh,
did
food
cannibal.
challenge.
Then I did the bungee jump.
Yeah. Yeah,
So,
my bad.
9.
Oh, I'm gonna subscribe right now.
Thank
Okay,
you.
I just subscribed to your channel.
Oh yeah, Toby, do the same. Thank you.
I think I have.
That food challenge video was insane, by the way. I mean, the bungee jump video is obviously goes without saying I could never do
Crazy.
it. What are you doing, you madman?
Yeah.
I would say the same thing about the food challenge, frankly.
Oh mate, I got nowhere near defeating that. That was ridiculous amount of food.
I know, but just sheerly the amount you actually had, I was like, he's got to have been violently sick after this.
Yeah, I was so close. When I was in the corner of the cob, I was like, I puked in my mouth. I was like, oh, I can't do it in public. But yeah, okay. So we have 2 questions left. Michael and Toby are level with 7. Then Adrian is unfortunately tagging along behind with 5.
But this one's
Anyway.
worth 5 points.
The penultimate question, guys. On November 2nd, the Beatles returned with a one-off song. What was it called?
I honestly didn't even know they had.
Was it something like Now and Then?
Toby gets the point.
Okay. I haven't even listened to the song. I
No,
just
neither
had
have
the
I.
name.
But it's called
Wow.
Now and Then. The Beatles have returned. It's just like an old song from the 70s that they like remastered and whatever. But yeah,
I didn't actually think 2 of them had resurrected from the dead. But
thank you, Mike. Okay, so Toby with 8 points, Mike with 7, Adrian with 5. This is the final question, and because I want to make it interesting, this question is worth 1,000 points.
Oh, okay.
Wow.
So whoever gets this right wins. In what round did Francis Ngannou knock down Tyson Fury?
3.
Mike wins with 1,000
That
points.
was a wild guess.
I
Oh my God.
Goodness.
I have no idea what this was about.
Don't even know who that is.
Boxing.
so-
I know who it is, but only because my brother
Okay.
watches a lot of like MMA and
It was like
boxing.
the biggest boxing fight of the year. No big deal.
Madness.
Well,
Oh,
Michael, you won the quiz of 2023.
Thank you. What do I win?
My congratulations. That's all I can afford right now. In about
Yes.
£400 of debt with all the winners.
You do technically still owe me money from the last quiz I won, actually.
Bro, I still owe you money from about 2 years ago. You won like £1,000 on £1 million
You
drop. or
didn't actually
something.
give me that.
No, I didn't. We just forgave it. So, yeah.
Excuse me.
I mean, I think I forgave it for you.
Yeah.
You were like,
No,
don't
you
worry
didn't
about it. I
have
was just like, nah, you don't worry about it, my friend. That's how it went. But yeah, well done, guys. That was a tough set.
Thanks for that. So, yeah. So, I'm
Star
guessing
Trek.
that's just me and Adrienne to talk about Star Trek for a little bit.
Yeah,
Woo!
I'll stick around.
Yeah.
Coolio. Right. Well, if either one of you wants to shoot off, then Will and Toby, thank you for joining us, and feel
What's
free
the
to go.
topic after Star Trek.
You up?
Is there anything even after Star Trek?
No, I'm just going to go after Star Trek. I thought we might
Alright.
be here a bit longer because we'd have more guests, but it turns out Sandra is MIA. Alison can't make it. Andy apparently has had too long of a day at work. DK is unwell. I don't know where anyone else is.
Excuses.
Yeah.
Thank you for having me. It's been a nice few hours.
Yeah, it has. It's been at least we got something out when we got to talk about our top sort of films and TV and everything. So
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That was really
Happy
fun.
New Year,
Will.
guys. Sorry?
It was really fun. Glad you're here.
Absolutely. And I look forward to our episode of Star Trek.
yes,
together
coming up
in
soon.
a few weeks or months or whenever he
Well,
wants.
I know
to
you've
do it.
seen Balance of Terror because you've seen all of TOS, so you
Yeah.
would have to at least rewatch it.
I will be rewatching. So
Ah,
don't you worry.
fair
Yeah,
enough.
yeah. Right. Take care, guys. Have a nice
Yeah,
time.
thanks for joining us. And Toby, are you heading off as well?
Yeah, I think as well.
Cool.
I'm gonna watch Buffy now because
Okay, well, enjoy. Which one are you up to? Is it Consequences?
season 3, episode 15. What is it? Let me just check.
Pretty sure it's
Wikipedia.
Consequences because you haven't mentioned it.
Consequences, yes. So,
Yeah, well, enjoy, and we'll probably not get much longer.
organizing this and have fun with Adrian alone talking about Star Trek.
Well, there's not enough of us here to really have too much of a discussion, but we might as well knock a quick discussion out about it.
Yeah.
Because me and Adrian have gone to the trouble of making our lists and watching everything this year, so why not?
Yeah.
Yeah, cool.
Well,
Right,
enjoy it.
and hopefully we'll see you again for a recording soon. Take care,
Yeah.
Toby.
Bye.
Bye. Right, Adrian. So let's get stuck into talking Star Trek.
Yay,
So-
Star Trek.
What particularly stands out from Star Trek for this year for you then? Because there's 3 full seasons, Ed, wasn't it? Because we had Picard season 3, Strange New Worlds season 2, and Lower Decks season 4. Yeah. So
Right. Yeah, this for me was the year of Star Trek. It was just great television. I watched Star Trek all year. I listened to episodes in my car when I'm driving. It was great. What stands out? I would say character development.
okay.
You know, these were not new seasons for anything. We're already established with these characters, and that was what it was about. Just pure character development and having reunions, especially on Picard.
Cool. Yeah, I think it's a weird one for me because I think it's all kind of stands out because obviously Picard was a big deal, the reunions and the return of that ship. But Strange New Worlds, I think, had a surprisingly good season, even though there was a couple that I didn't love. As I looked through, I was like, you know what? Season 2 of Strange New Worlds had at least 3 what I would call like 10 out of 10 episodes, and then a couple of like 9s. And that's a really, from a 10 episode season, that's really strong.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
and-
there weren't that many bombs, I would say.
No. And Lower Decks was certainly no slouch. It's just it looks like it's the worst on paper because it's just solid all the time. So it didn't do anything. It didn't stand out as particularly, doing anything great, but also not doing anything bad or wrong. It was just solid. And I will say it did introduce the world to Moopsie though. So it's become like the biggest meme of the year. So
Yeah, I am excited to learn more about Moopsie, and it's fascinating how we're all discriminating against Moopsie because of what they eat. You know,
well, they do eat bones.
well, yes, but I mean, we all Moopsie's. We're scared and upset with her because of eating. I mean, yes, they would kill us, but still, it's just it's just evolution.
Yeah, I mean, it is cute. We'll say that much. And I just can't. That's probably the biggest character of Star Trek in the year is that bloomin' Moopsie. And they are bringing out plushies or whatever, I think, at the start of this year. So I'm sure people will be buying them en masse. Poor, what's he called? The Murph from Prodigy was everybody's favorite little cute thing. And now he's been replaced by Moopsie.
Yeah, totally replaced. Poor Merv. At first, they were going to basically cancel his show.
I know, right? Oh,
I know.
that's
I'm
obviously
so
the other
glad they
big thing
didn't.
of the year is whatever the debacle happened with Prodigy. And
I know.
I bet Paramount Plus are really regretting their decision.
Mhm. I hope they are.
Well, it's doing incredibly well on Netflix. I mean, it was in Germany, it was the #1 animated show.
I didn't know that.
Yeah,
We should tell Toby.
I should have really should.
Because you don't really have to know that much. Oh, well, he's already going to be interested in Captain Janeway.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh,
I'll
wow.
mention it to him actually. Yeah, because
Yeah, me
I
too.
follow all of the people on the social media who make the show, and they've been obviously pushing, make sure you watch it, give it the viewing hours so that we can, because Netflix have the right to carry on producing after the second season that they've produced, and they kind of want to get commissioned for a third and beyond. So they're like, well, watch it, make sure you know that Netflix know how popular it is, and it seems like it's doing really well, and it's in the top 10 like everywhere, but Germany in particular, it was just randomly, it was the #1 animated kids show.
That is really good. That is really exciting. Good for them. I'm really
hope
glad
so,
because they had to work really hard.
Yeah,
And it
definitely.
was a lot of episodes in season 1. They really worked hard. They did a lot of work. I'm
I know a lot of
excited for
people
season
have
2.
been, a lot of people are doing rewatches and then talking about them on social media and stuff. And I will say, yeah, if you haven't seen it, watch Prodigy. It's amazing.
Yes.
20 solid episodes, I would say there.
Yeah.
Awesome. Excuse me. That's not this year, though. Of course, it was cancelled this year, but I keep saying this year. I mean 2023, obviously. We're only in day one of 2024. But...
I know, it's funny.
Excuse me. Sorry, I've got a terrible cough. It probably is sounding very annoying to the audience, but I'll try and plow on for as long as I can. So, yeah. Let's see. What can we talk about when it comes to Trek? Well, obviously, starting with Picard, I think we've kind of given our thoughts because over on the Trek podcast, we did a review of the full third season. So we kind of went in depth over there if anybody's interested in our thoughts. But do you have anything that particularly stands out to you from that Picard season that you liked or disliked?
Well, I mean, we're doing spoilers, right? No worries about anything.
Yeah. Yeah, spoilers if anybody hasn't seen anything from 2023. And that includes you, DP, if we start talking about Lower Decks, because I know he still hasn't finished season 4 yet.
Oh, okay. We have to tell him because I'm going to be doing a lot of talking about Lower Decks if I get the chance. But yeah, I'm glad to see the end of Lore. That's a huge deal for me. I was so annoyed by Lore. I think he represented such.
I think the character, you mean?
Yeah, I'm just glad we saw the end of Lore.
I thought you meant like of Star Trek lore in general, and I was like,
oh, sorry, no, of Data's brother Lore.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm glad he's gone. That is basically a huge deal for me. But I was so happy to see all the characters again. And funny thing for me, like I think I mentioned it before, but never been a Riker fan, but I love Riker and Picard.
Fair enough. Yeah, I've always kind of been a fan, but yeah, okay, cool. I mean, I would say what stands out, but it's so obvious. It's always going to be the same thing. It's the return of Ro Laren. I think that was probably the best episode of Picard.
Oh yeah, for sure. That was my favorite. Oh, she's so great.
She was, and that was such. And obviously, like everybody else, I loved Captain Shaw. I grew to love him from hating him, and I think that actor Todd Stashwick is great.
He is great. He really is. He brought so much, and in the end, I just loved him. And then first, I hated him, with that and everything. But I ended up loving him. Yeah.
That scene at the end when he's, his posthumous hologram when he talks about his true feelings towards Seven of Nine, and he's like, "She's going to make a fine, fantastic captain."
Yeah,
and,
that was. Cool.
I was just, he did the whole time. But yeah, I mean, I will say as well, I haven't mentioned this anywhere, but I don't know if you saw that one of the sort of semi-official Star Trek podcasts does awards for various things, and they announced a couple. And yesterday it was to announce that Todd Stashwick won Best Guest Actor for the whole year.
Oh, wonderful!
Playing Captain Shaw. And today they announced that in a 2-for-1 announcement, Tawny Newsome won Best Actress and Beckett Mariner won Best Character.
Well, are we allowed to say what podcasts these are? I'm a podcast person.
I wish I could remember. I feel really bad.
Okay, because I know I listen to 2 Star Trek podcasts in Trek We Trust, and I listen to The Strange New Pod.
I don't know if it was either of those.
Okay.
I'm going to have a look and see if I can find it.
Okay, fine. But, imagine being Todd Stashwick and just having to come into this world with these intense fans. And after just one season, come out like this. So strong, so loved, so appreciated.
I know, right?
That would just be.
I had no idea, but he'd actually appeared, by the way, in Enterprise before playing a random Vulcan. People posted a picture, and I was like, "Oh,
I did not know that." But
I found the pod, by the way. It is Strange New Pod.
Yeah, I like that group. That's like a happy group of folks. Yeah, good bunch of folks.
Oh, I have more information here because why not?
Oh, please do.
The episode of the year is the Lower Decks episode Caves, season 4, episode 8.
Oh, that's my favorite episode of the season.
Wow.
It's a great one.
The best Star Trek series of the year. They went with Lower Decks. I can't say I would have agreed, but okay. Yeah, and that's. I'm just looking. Yeah, I've mentioned already best actress and best character, Tawny Newsome and Beckett Mariner. Todd Stashwick, best. What was that? Let's see. Trek actor of the year.
And you'd have to imagine that.
I don't know if you've seen this, but they've mocked up a great poster which is in the style of Strange New Worlds, but it's Captain Shaw, and it just says Star Trek, more weird shit. It's just-
Oh, that's funny. Yeah.
I think
I
that's-
just try to imagine being an actor like that, and at this point in his life, having his life completely change, because he has really entered, this world. I wonder if he thought it would be like this. It'd be interesting to hear what he has to say.
Cool. I've just noticed that there's two different groups of people that are voting. So the people behind Strange New Pod voted Caves the best episode. And
Oh,
the audience voted Those Old Scientists as the best episode of the year.
Oh yeah. Well, that makes sense. Those are two good, really great episodes.
I tell you what I could do while we're here, if you don't mind.
Go ahead.
I did put out a thing on Facebook to all of the various Star Trek groups asking what were your thoughts and what was like a hit and a miss in the year of Star Trek. And I got so many responses. So I could always try and read a few of those out if I can find some.
Yeah, that'll be fun. I'd love it.
So if I can find where we are. I'm not going to read all of the negative ones because you don't want to do that. A lot of people saying it was a positive that there was no Discovery, and those people can F off. But never mind.
I know you like Discovery, but
I don't insist on everybody liking it, but I think, accept that other people might like something different than you. You don't have to talk about it like that. Like,
right. It's very different. I think that, it started out very dark, then it got interesting, but I just feel like it jumped the shark a little bit, but that's just my opinion.
Yeah, fair enough. So Tom Swen in the actual Hit or Miss Star Trek group says, I'm not sure if there's been a low point. The high points that spring to mind are live action Boimler and Mariner, the Galaxy class Enterprise Last Hurrah, and obviously Moopsy. I'm looking forward to Prodigy and the final season of Discovery in the new year. So there you go. Let me see if I can find any other groups. I know that I can.
I feel like we should all get together, like right after we watch New Prodigy, and just immediately jump and talk about it.
Probably.
I'm excited. Yeah.
I don't know how they're going to drop it. That's what worries me. I'm concerned. Like I kind of don't want them to drop it all at once. If you know what I mean, I'd rather week to week. And I know that Netflix it's their model to drop 20 episodes at once, and I don't.
Oh no.
So Brian Steeb on the Red Shirts and Runabouts group says best equals Strange New Worlds, pretty much beginning to end. Picard season 3 gets an honorable mention. The worst is that there's no Discovery this year. Sorry that there was no bad Trek this year. Thank you, Brian. I agree. I should have really bookmarked these because now I'm going to have to hunt through these groups to find my actual post. Sorry, I know this probably makes terrible audio to listen to, but I will find some of these, I'm sure.
Well, I was reading that there's a lot of speculation that since we didn't see Ro Laren's body, that she is not indeed dead. And wouldn't it be wonderful for her to not be dead? But I think she is.
It wasn't just speculation. The writers actually said that they had written a scene where they recover Ro and Tuvok from the brig of the Intrepid, and it would have confirmed that she didn't die. She was being.
Oh, I didn't know that. Okay.
Although it was never filmed, it's kind of a cut scene.
Well, that would be, because maybe the Intrepid beamed her out of there. Wow, yeah.
They said they specifically did mention in dialogue, if you listen, that they're within transporter range and there's nothing preventing them beaming her over and they destroyed the shuttle. So I think pretty much everybody, I think, is of the opinion of, she's fine. She survived.
Right, probably. Well, that would be great because it was so wonderful to see her. I remember I went, because it's so great. Michelle Forbes, she was always so great in that character.
Definitely. It was one of those things because I just never expected it. You know what I mean? That was the thing. It was so surprising. Okay.
Well, that episode was so good because in the end, it turned out that Ro was Worf's handler.
Yeah.
And that was just a shock. I mean, it
I was all about the reunion of Rowan Picard and him finally admitting,
No.
because having lived with that for 30 years and
Mhm.
sort of saying I did expect too much of you and I now see who you are, and
Mhm,
so
mhm.
brilliant.
It
Brilliant. Right?
really was great
I found a
acting.
ton of stuff on the Star Trek universe group.
Okay, go for it.
Let's go. Nathan Reynolds, seeing the D fly out of the hangar and seeing it in Times Square, a major high of 2023. Also seeing Mariner talking to Uhura. Low, going to be a minute before there's more Star Trek. Colin Bashir says, highlight Moopsy Picard Season 3, Strange New Worlds Lower Decks crossover, Ad Astra Per Aspera, and the Enterprise G. Jeremy Hurd says, highlight, there was Star Trek this year, low light, I watched it all already. David McDonald says, nothing will beat Hangar Door 12 opening and those lights coming on. And hearing Major's voice one last time, as Brian Brown added. Yeah, definitely. All about the Enterprise D. Dale Hopper, I would have to agree with Dale on here, says, low light was definitely Paramount bailing on Prodigy. Thank goodness it got picked up. High point was the crossover and musical Strange New Worlds episode. Chris Jackson says Strange New Worlds Season 2 was a highlight, but the low light is that Season 3 is likely delayed due to the strike till 2025. Mark Mendel on the other side of that says low, the musical painful. It's just music, man.
It was so good.
Best Picard Season 3, just the whole thing.
Oh.
So Nacho Fernandez says, I agree with the highlights of Strange New Worlds Season 2 and Picard Season 3. Strange New Worlds had a lot to live up to after a stellar Season 1, and they pulled it off with, I feel, a stronger Season 2. And while I've never been a huge TNG fan, seeing Picard and his crew get a final send-off that was cinema-worthy was outstanding. Plus, Old Worf was hilarious. I will also add the Star Trek and Star Trek Defiant comic line from IDW this year. I'm not a big Trek comic guy, but when you team up a newly returned Sisko with Scotty and it works, I got to give it props. I didn't know anything about that, but I'm intrigued. I will definitely check that out.
What is that? What is that? Scotty and Cisco?
Yeah, the two comic book series, one just called Star Trek and one called Star Trek Defiant, and they were both by IDW Comics this year. Zorana Ivsevich Pringle says, a better question would be the best moments after the finale of Picard, because that was as close to perfection as can be. A cameo by Janeway would have made it to that final bit of pure bliss. Excuse me. George James says, I went to the IMAX screening of the Picard finale, and seeing the Enterprise D on a big screen saving the day one more time surrounded by fans was a powerful moment for me. I was 9 when Generations came out, and it was only in that moment this year that I realized just how devastating it was as a child to see the ship I'd grown up with crash and burn. That kid with the teddy bear, yeah, I really felt that. You can't go back and get what's lost. But this episode showed me that with enough time, effort, and love, you can make something anew. The characters and people working on the show did a lot to bring that ship back, and that gave me hope. So.
Yeah, that he's right. And having it, having that scene where you open up and there's Enterprise D, it was really touching. And it's interesting that he said he was 9. So yeah, watching something crash and burn. And you feeling that was the finale, that would have been hard on a 9-year-old that likes Star Trek.
Yeah, definitely. I was a lot older in '94. I will say. Well, actually, was I? Come to think of it, yeah, I was 12. William Atkinson just says the return of the Enterprise D. That is all. Joe Walter says I only have highlights. Picard Season 3 and Strange New World Season 2 really entertained me this year. Michael Lawson says highlights were Strange New World Season 2 and Picard Season 3. Low point was no longer being able to print ships from Star Trek Online. Again, I don't go on it, so I don't know, but yeah, that doesn't sound good. Boo, let people print their ships.
I didn't even know there were printable ships.
Yeah, me neither.
At any time.
I have another pile here, sorry. Shall I carry on?
Absolutely.
From Star Trek Strange New Worlds group, John Cronin says, highlight Season 2 of Strange New Worlds, loads of great moments and episodes. Low light, Picard Season 3. I couldn't find one single thing to enjoy in that. Just my personal taste, don't come at me. And I've said, I actually have a close friend who feels the same way. I don't know if you know Mary, who's been on the podcast a couple of times. She would probably agree she wasn't a fan of Picard Season 3. So I just said, no judgment, we all like different things. We're allowed. So, David Alloway says his highlight was the crossover episode. His low light was Discovery, to which I pointed out it didn't even air this year. But there we go. Mike Copping says the only low lights have been the vitriolic trolling. Various episodes and shows have received highlights would be all of Strange New Worlds Season 2. I replied, sadly, it's not just Trek that has to deal with idiot trolls. I find if you block any mention of the word woke, 90% of it goes away. It's probably.
That's a good idea. I never thought of that. We should
Oh,
do
it's
it.
so easy to do,
Everybody
isn't it?
should just do it.
Connie Bratton, one of the top contributors, says the singing episode of Star Trek Strange New Worlds. I loved it. Kenneth Hansen Jones says no lows, all highs. Karen Biohus says best. Sorry, I've probably butchered that name. Best everything about Mbenga and Chapel's friendship and history. Ad Astra per Aspera and the scene where the Borg cube is destroyed in Picard. Worst, Shaw and Roll Aaron possibly being gone for good. Arguments about Subspace Rhapsody and Prodigy almost being cancelled. Samuel Lecomte just says moopsie. Highlight or low light or what? Just the word. Okay. William Haney says highlight Star Trek Strange New Worlds, the musical. Aside from Tommy, I'm not into musicals until this one. Great cliffhanger, but yet he is taking longer. Riker had the right pause when he said fire in that cliffhanger. Yes, that's really nitpicky, William. The whole final season of Picard, great finale and hopeful series. Low light, again, the long pause by Pike. I began to wonder how good Pike is as a captain. The long gap for Discovery coming in 24 and the wait for Strange New Worlds to return because of the strike. Coy Luke Turner says low light, Strange New Worlds, episode 9, Subspace Rhapsody. I love or hate that episode. It's so weird. He then says highlight Strange New World, episode 2, Ad Astra per Aspera, which I would agree with. Chad Bonner says the Klingon boy band scene, worst Trek scene ever. Boo! It was fantastic.
That did make David laugh, and I know that you really liked it. Yeah.
Have you seen, by the way, that I got the 4K set for Christmas, and there's deleted scenes, and one of the deleted things is an alternative version of that song, where it's like as a power ballad instead of like the rap. So it's like a romance, a more Klingon opera style version. It's more or less the same lyrics, but it was obviously like a first take that they did before they went with K-pop.
That's funny. I didn't know.
Thing to see, yeah.
Need to watch that.
Andrew Roby says best Picard season 3 runner up La'an in her undies. I can't even remember that happening. Okay. Runner up for worst, the new chief engineer on Strange New Worlds. Ooh,
Love her. She's great, Palea.
Yeah, you've got to love Carol Kane. I mean, we said that enough, didn't we, during our review of Scrooged? So,
right. Yeah, I love Palea. I think she's great.
okay, I have another part. I'll make this the last, but this is all from the Star Trek Ships of the Line group. Apologies if we don't reach your but I don't think I haven't read this one yet. Josh Putney says all of it. It's been an exceptional year for Trek. Stephen M. Totten says it's been a pretty good year for Trek, but if I had to choose one, the return of the Enterprise D, which I said popular choice. Sean Chedevy says the highlight was seeing Mariner in live action. Cool. Samuel Lecomte says seeing Vadik, and I replied, yes, her chemistry with Jean-Luc Picard was pretty good. Yeah. Clive Chan again just says the word moopsie with an exclamation mark. Okay. Stephen DeGraziano Jr. says, I really don't see a downside. If I had to pick one, I'd say Prodigy. I know people love it, but I couldn't get past episode 3 or 4. I tried. I would say maybe give it another try, because I think it certainly does pick up. But anyway, Stephen Hale says the highest highlight and the lowest low light occupy the same space for me. The highlight was the launch of the Enterprise D and hearing Majel's voice again. The low light was finding out that once again, it's the Borg. It's not the Changelings, but the Borg. After all that build-up, it's the bloody Borg again. It's like the 90s all over again. DS9 gets the short straw and all the focus is on Voyager material. Okay. I know people that do agree with the whole, like, it turned out to be the Borg again complaint, shall we say. So,
yeah, but at least it wasn't a brand new bad guy, and then we're just left with that.
True, yeah. I mean, it made sense.
Yeah, it did. It did make sense. Plus, there's all the time travel involved with the Borg, and there's so much character tie-in with the Borg from all the different series. You know, they all have ties in. So
yeah, exactly. Dave McAllister says it's obviously the coming together of the next gen crew in the Enterprise D to save Earth one more time. Wes Phelps says highlight was Picard season 3, and I know this one's divisive, but just for me personally, the low light was Strange New Worlds, Subspace Rhapsody. Sorry, I just can't. Good Lord. Jonathan Allen Boyce says yes, without Lost, there's no hope. And boy, watching the Enterprise D trench run a giant Borg cube put me in the mood for any consistency or effort. This is a weird one. Eric McWhorter says the highlight was the legendary Avenger in Star Trek Online. Again, I don't play, but if it's popular, yeah, cool. Fair enough. This is very in the weeds of nerdiness, but I'm going to read it anyway. Jacob Redfield says the Enterprise G is both a highlight and a lowlight. Highlight in that, my God, Constitution 3 is a beautiful class of starship from most angles anyway, and deserving to carry on the legacy. Lowlight in that it breaks away from the evolutionary progress the prior Enterprises had all established, for the most part bigger, more advanced, meant for exploration, but able to defend themselves, and it shat all over the developing legacy of the USS Titans. Excuse me. Okay. Gary Harriman says the destruction of the Queen's Cube by the Enterprise D and the death of the Borg Queen. David Hill says highlights Picard season 3 and select few episodes of Strange New Worlds. Nathan Smith says almost entirely highlights. I loved Lower Decks. They seem to dig deeper into lore with every go, and episodic to ongoing plot radio was magical. Adored Strange New Worlds. Lower Decks crossover was awesome. And I love how Strange New Worlds managed to salvage the TOS relationship between Chapel and Spock into something that doesn't make Chapel's actions in the TOS era seem so pathetic. It's a take I haven't heard before, but it's very interesting.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Picard has been a joy every season, and while I've got Borg fatigue, I loved seeing the old and new together and being back on a Starfleet ship. The only real lowlight for me has been the ongoing inability for the writers of Picard to pull another trick out of their pocket other than, beloved guest star you really liked? They dead now. It's not even evoking pathos now, as the moment a character appeared on the screen, husband and I just shrug and say, so they're going to die. And they also say, also playing Star Trek Adventures from Modiphius has been a massive highlight. I adore TTRPGs, and this one rocks for creating the tone of the shows.
I don't know what that is. Is that a game? Video game?
I don't know. TTRPGs, that'd be role-playing game of some kind, I guess. Tabletop role-playing game, yeah. Excuse me.
Sounds good.
Lionel Dickerson says, I still want the Enterprise F. Agreed. I think that's more or less it. Oh, I'll say this one. Mark Mortland says, as a poor kid growing up in the 70s, I could never have imagined being a retired adult able to enjoy so many different Trek series at once. It was an amazing year, one I'll always be grateful for. Please keep them coming.
Oh, yeah, I agree.
And finally, Aspen Knight says, seeing the 1701D kicked ass and the Titan in action, I'm not too thrilled about taking all that time with 1 billion ships to bring down a space station. I mean, come on, DS9 was calling for help after the 3rd pass. Yeah, that's fair. Cool. So, again, that we've talked about Picard. So, Strange New World, we've kind of touched on. Did you have a highlight and a low light from that in what we've mentioned as a strong season 2?
From Strange New Worlds?
Yeah.
Well, of course, we've talked about Subspace Rhapsody so much, and we even sang on that episode. We were talking about it. That was fun.
Don't hold that against us.
I know, yeah, but that was great. I think that this is such a strong Star Trek show. I'm really happy that it's here and we're watching it. I love these characters. I love all the strong women, and I love what they've done with everyone. I would say my low light from this season is the only one I don't want to watch again is Among the Lotus Eaters. I feel like the story got lost in the middle. Kind of slow. I didn't like the acting, and I didn't care for that one at all. So I mean, I watched it. I would talk about it if anyone ever wanted to, but I won't watch it again unless I have to. Whereas these other ones, I'll just play them at any time.
I see what you mean. That was a weird one because I was looking forward to it as a huge fan of The Cage.
Yeah,
they never really addressed like that stuff.
Right. Yeah.
And I was like, oh, well, they're going back to that sort of thing that's only been a little bit of backstory in the past. But then, like you said, the storyline they went with wasn't all that interesting, really.
True.
Yeah.
And then tomorrow, very heartbreaking for La'an.
It's heartbreaking for me as a nerd that they keep moving the timeline.
Well, that's true. But I thought it was well done how they had to go down to Earth and everything. I thought that was good. And, of course, it was a Romulan. But I thought that was a strong episode. But recently, I just, out of nowhere, decided to watch Ad Astra Per Aspera again.
I love that story.
Because the acting is so great. and her lawyer is so wonderful. It's such a great acting job, and I just love it.
Yeah, we mentioned that I think during an old podcast review. That,
Yes, we
I don't
did.
remember her
We
name now,
talked
but we
about
definitely
that.
shouted out that guest star
Yeah,
and said she was
was.
outstanding. It's
Mhm.
something like Yatiki Batidi or something. I'm sorry, I'm probably not
Yes.
remembering that right. But yeah, she was fantastic, and I really hope we get to see her either
Mhm.
in that role or some other comeback.
I hope so. Yeah, I hope so. Maybe she needs help, and the Enterprise can help her. That'd be great.
Definitely.
Yeah, I also loved one of the folks that wrote in. I love the Mbenga Chapel.
Mm.
The fact that they knew each other and they had basically trauma bonded. I really loved seeing that side of Mbenga. I
Yeah.
like his character, and I thought that was interesting. I wasn't all that thrilled with the how he, handled the Klingon
That's the
at the
thing.
end.
Yeah.
I didn't like that, but and I don't know what they're going to do with that. They have to do something with that at some point.
Well, I don't know if they do. I mean, it's kind of dealt with, I think, isn't it, in a way? So
Well, yes, but
yeah, I just didn't
yeah.
like that episode. It felt regressive for Strange New Worlds as a series. It didn't
Mm.
seem to belong, especially in season 2, which is very forward-looking and hopeful for most of it. But yeah,
Well, we can't forget that war is out there. And so the trauma of war, and I thought Doc Ra was a really interesting character. Sometimes it's important, like the way Deep Space Nine did that too, to go back into it, into what happens with war, like the siege of AR 559 or whatever the name of that episode was.
558, you were close.
Yeah, 558. We have to have those episodes every once in a while.
See, I don't know if we do in Strange New Worlds, and it felt like it was a relic of like Discovery when they were having to deal with all that. And for me, it just jars because the Klingons on Strange New Worlds finally having appeared this year, they were almost always kind of like funny comic relief. Oh, Spock's going to get drunk with them and it'll all be fine.
Right.
So reconciling that with like these horrible butcher Klingons that were killing everyone, it's like we've moved away from that, guys. Just step away from Discovery season 1 and let that be its own thing, yeah. Anyway, that's I mean, it's still not a terrible episode, and I don't think there is for me a bad episode of anything this year in the same way that last year there was definitely the Gorn episode where they killed off Hemmer, which was universally, I think, mine and DK is like, this is the worst.
I didn't enjoy. I haven't watched that episode again. I don't want to watch it again.
I have, because I watched through the season 1 4K set, and so I made a point of watching everything and watched that episode again, and I was just kind of like, I can see that there's some great moments, and I hadn't appreciated how good Bruce Horak is, especially in those last moments when he's talking to Uhura. And
I love their relationship.
Yeah.
I mean, that is just a relationship you would never have expected.
Yeah, but it's so well played.
It really is. And I just like how shows make how it would be in real life. You take the time to develop these interpersonal relationships between these characters, and Hemmer is still so well developed. He's come back. They're talking about him. Pelia is mentioning him. I mean, and I love how they did that.
Yeah.
I love writers. I've said it before.
Yeah, I just wish they'd done more with Bruce Horak, because they did say he was going to come back even after they'd killed off Hemmer, and it was great seeing him as the aforementioned K-pop Klingon.
Yeah, that was awesome, right? And of course, at the very end of the final episode, we get to see him in full regalia, full ANR regalia. Yeah, that was good.
I'm just looking this up because there we go. Because when you were talking about the acting, particularly on Strange New Worlds, and I was going to say I saw somewhere that Celia Rose Gooding was nominated for Best Supporting Actress in a Drama Series for playing Uhura.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, and I'm just seeing what award it's for. It's for Critics' Choice Awards.
Oh, great.
Star Trek has 3 nominations, so there's that one for Celia. The second season of Strange New Worlds is up for Best Drama Series. And let's see, what's the other one? And Lower Decks has been nominated for Best Animated Series.
Wow.
3 nominations in the Critics' Choice Awards.
Yeah, let's bring home some Star Trek awards, people. I would
Yeah.
love to see her get it because she just shines in that role.
I personally, I think I wouldn't necessarily have nominated her over. I probably would have went with Christina Chong this season for Tomorrow and Tomorrow or Subspace Rhapsody. I think she's great, but I think she did win. I'm not going to look this up because I'll never find it, but she won like a fan poll or something for like Best Actress or Character Development or something somewhere, and she was just really thankful and posted like, "Oh, thanks guys, it's great to be appreciated" and whatever on Twitter. And I was like,
that's wonderful because she's not a warm, bubbly character.
Well, she as an actress,
good that she
person really is, but that's the weird thing. Yeah. By the way, she's also a fantastic musician. If you haven't heard any of her songs, I recommend looking them up. What was I getting at? So yes, that was Strange New Worlds. I think we've kind of talked about that enough. Unless you had anything else you wanted to mention. No. What was that?
That was Ethan.
Oh.
He busted in the room and he's
Ethan.
looking at his mom. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I mean, Strange New Worlds. I'm glad it's not the final season. I'm looking forward to more stuff.
I loved it. I really hope it carries on for a long time because I think
I know, me too.
I agree with the other person that contributed that said season 1 was strong, season 2 was better. So
for sure, yeah, for sure.
So moving on, then this will be the section that DK has to not listen to. What about the Lower Deck season 4? Then, what were your thoughts about that overall? Hello.
Whoops. Okay. Hello, everyone. How are you?
Hello. Sorry about that.
Okay. Yeah, it's my favorite, to be honest. At this point right now, Lower Decks is my favorite. I think that this show is genius. I think it's just what Trek needs right now.
Mm-hmm. Cool. It's probably my least favorite of the 3 this year, but again, it's just because everything else was so strong. But again, we haven't really had a chance to talk about it, and I couldn't really. I did briefly talk to DK during our Blood Oath review about the year in Trek, but I couldn't discuss Lower Decks beyond the middle of the season, so he hadn't seen the big reveal of what the mystery ship was or the return of Nick Locarno or anything. So I'd love to know what your thoughts are on that.
Of the mystery ship and Locarno?
Yeah, like the return of Locarno and the links into the First Duty and Lower Decks, the kind of next gen, the Sito Jaxa stories and everything, you know?
Well, the Sito Jaxa stuff is amazing. I've always loved her as a character. I was really sad to see her go. Nick Locarno, I think it's a good choice. He brings back, kind of reaches back into Trek lore, back to TNG, and I liked it. I mean, I was just glad that everybody wasn't dead. I'm glad they hadn't killed the crews. I'm glad. I kind of I'm glad that everybody was beamed away. And it was kind of obvious, I guess, because you never saw any bodies floating in the wreckage of the ships that he had destroyed. And I like that. But Nick Locarno as a character just annoys me.
Right, okay.
At least he has been transformed, and hopefully any creatures that come from the Locarno planet are nice and good and not Moopsy like.
Fair enough. Yeah, I'm kind of similar. I don't love the character of Locarno, and I'm one of the people that doesn't see why they didn't just make Paris him. But I kind of get that they were like, well, he's not redeemable enough. We kind of have to start anew. But I do love that, like, it's Lower Decks doing what it does, which is getting into the sort of the really nerdy occasional guest stars of Next Gen and small hotlines, and actually giving them a bit of time and a bit of attention. And I loved finding out that Mariner, like, one of her issues with Starfleet is because of what happened to Sito. And, like, she didn't ask for any of this. She went on a mission and she was killed. And, it hardly seems fair. And this is why she has that bit of a grudge. It's like, wow, that's a deep thing to come out with 4 years into your show, But,
it really is. And, Sito, it's such an interesting character that they brought her back because, you know, the Star Trek episode TNG of Lower Decks,
Mhm.
it really plays a lot into this series.
Of course, I
Not
mean that's
just besides her, but like
well, it's kind of
you
the
know,
blueprint for what the series is. I mean,
well, yeah, it
literally
really
the
is
title is
all
Lower Decks.
about promotions and yeah. But I caught something about the Ceto thing that back when in the episode right after Ceto dies, that kid Lavelle,
Yeah,
he gets the promotion.
he does. Yeah,
And the Vulcan Torek says, you know, because Lavelle is kind of melancholy about the
Yeah.
promotion, feeling like it probably wasn't going to be his. But he says, but Torek says, the best way to remember her, regarding Ceto, of course, the best way to remember her would be to excel in your position.
Mm.
And then in the inner fight, the Klingon captain, Ma'a, which is his name, which is I think that's a great name. Captain Ma'a says to Mariner, when Mariner is frustrated, you know, she's going through her own kind of things about promotion, and she finally confides to this guy that it's about Ceto. And he says to her, Ceto was a warrior. You do not honor her, you know. And he says to her, she wouldn't approve of your action to honor your friends. You must slay your enemies, and things like that. And I just thought that this character Ceto, who was in what, maybe 2 Next Generation
literally
episodes?
2 episodes. Yeah, the first
Yeah,
two being Lower Decks.
2 episodes. And she has this relationship with Worf and this relationship with these young kids. And then she goes and she has this relationship with Wesley and Locarno, and they all know her. And just this character brought together stuff about it's still current. It's still current. I mean, here is Mariner talking about her. You know what I mean? It's just amazing to me that this
It's a well-written character and a fantastic.
Yeah.
I mean, I think Lower Decks is the episode. I mean, is such an underrated episode. I'm just remembering now, like as you said, the effect. It's all about the effect that Ceto has on the characters. And I think one of my favorite Next Gen moments is when she kind of finally stands up for herself and says, you know, it's not fair that you judge me because of what happened at the academy and whatever. I deserve to have another chance, etc. And she's really railing at Picard, and he just ends it by saying something along the lines of, actually, I do believe in second chances. That's why I specifically requested for you to come.
Yes, the first time I saw that, I was floored because at first I was mad at Jean-Luc.
Yeah,
I'm like,
exactly.
JL, what's your problem? You know,
Yeah.
but how he called back and said, I brought you here. I wanted you to have a fair chance. I wanted you. Yeah. I just thought that was great. I loved it.
No, such a good episode. So yeah, I love that they kind of tied all that stuff back in. And I will say, I'm glad that if they're gonna do Nick Locarno, that it's on Lower Decks, because it's the only place that would make the obvious yet still hilarious joke where you have Boimler saying, "This guy looks exactly like Tom Paris," and Rutherford just going, "I don't see it."
I thought it was opposite. I thought Rutherford was the one saying,
"Oh yeah, the other way around." Sorry,
yeah, that's a really good one. But you know, there's another little thing that I want to talk about with Lower Decks, and related to the Lower Decks episode of the Next Generation. The Torek, the Klingon, I'm sorry, Vulcan, he goes to Geordi and he says, I want to increase the efficiency of the warp core or something. I have these ideas, blah, blah, blah. Well, that is the exact same thing that T'Lyn does in the episode Wage Douge. Oh no, which episode do we meet T'Lyn? And she's talking to her captain and saying, we need to increase the efficiency of the shields or something.
Yeah, it is definitely Wedge Douge.
Yeah, and it's such a parallel with this kid, Torek, who of course also plays Vorik in Voyager, but that's for another story.
I was just going to say, I don't know if you know this, but that's the actor Alexander Enberg.
Yeah, he's good. He's good.
He well have gotten both of those roles because he's also the son of Jerry Taylor, the writer and co-creator of
I
Voyager.
had forgotten that. That's right.
Also, I've just looked him up, and he's 85 years old. I feel ancient now. What?
Yeah, I know. But I thought that was an interesting parallel because I'm a huge T'Lyn fan.
Yeah.
I just think she brings so much to the show, and she has these funny lines, like she says, I'm very fond of efficient labeling or something like that. Like she has all these great lines, and I just I'm glad that to notice that parallel, because they were both kind of like going and saying, let's try this, you know, in their own ways.
Yeah.
So
definitely.
I thought that was interesting. Yeah. And how Lavelle was all about, like, remember he goes to Riker and he says, "Oh, I'm from Canada,"
Yeah.
or whatever. And remember Boimler goes to
Yeah, about from staying there from Hawaii,
what's his
but really
name?
from the
And
moon.
yeah, and says, "Oh yeah, I'm from Hawaii." I mean, they're just great parallels, and they can make a whole story about it, a whole episode about these things. And I think that's just great.
I remember that exact exchange because it's also quite funny at the start.
It is funny because it turns out Ransom, they aren't from there.
No, I'm talking about the Riker and Lavelle.
Oh
'Cause
yeah.
Lavelle just walks up to Riker because, as he said, they've mentioned like, "Oh, this is something you might have in common if you want to try and start a conversation." And he just randomly says something like, "Hey, my grandfather was Canadian. I hear you're one." And then Riker says, "What, a grandfather?"
Yeah, that's right.
Canadian, sir, Canadian. I grew up in Alaska. Well, they both get a lot of snow.
The bartender totally got that one wrong. Alaska's not part of Canada. Stop looking at the map. Yeah, that's funny. And you know, that guy, Lavelle's so irritating, just like Riker was back in the day for me, you know, just so they were exactly like. That's funny.
I'm pretty sure he's a well-known actor as well, you know, that went on to something famous.
Oh, probably, because he seemed pretty good.
Oh, yeah, he is. He's Dan Gautier. Duh.
What's that?
Famous actor in America. Let's see. Famous for the ABC soap opera One Life to Live.
Oh, okay. I'm
was
not
on
a
the
soap
sitcom
opera person.
Ellen. Was in the 1989 film Teen
No.
Witch. Was in the series Tour of Duty.
No.
He's been in tons of stuff. Married with Children. Silk Stockings.
No, none of that. If you didn't come back to Star Trek, I probably wouldn't have remembered
He was
him.
on an episode of Friends, Melrose Place.
No, not my style. I probably recognize him though if I look at him as an adult.
He's one of those kind of, you know, stereotypical square-jawed, handsome types that always he gets cast as a guest star or a recurring thing, and everything is just the handsome guy.
Of course, yeah.
Everything. Like, I'm looking at Charmed, All My Children, Love Boat, Supernatural, Lost. He's been on basically every TV.
It sounds like it. That's funny.
Anyway, that's irrelevant, isn't it? But never mind, just interesting. So yeah. Anyway, well, I'll probably not keep you for too much longer because I would imagine that your Ethan's probably going a bit stir crazy and off to the cinema. So I've got a list of kind of my top 10 tracks and then a few rank scores if anybody's interested. Did you have anything similar or?
For what?
Well, what I've done, I may as well sort of go through it one at a time.
Okay.
And have ranked the episodes that not for Picard because we did a full review of that anyway.
Okay.
Given a score out of 10 for the Strange New World season 2 and Lower Deck season 4.
Go for it. I'll talk about stuff. I didn't rank them like that. I gave some of them more stars than others.
Well, I have made a top 10 list at the end of that.
Okay.
I mean, it's self-explanatory if you hear the reviews, but I will go through that as well.
Okay.
Before I do that, I will say I was trying to think of a worst of Trek list, and it just seemed. I've mentioned already Under the Cloak of War I didn't love, but I don't think it was terrible. I didn't like the whole Khan timeline change in Tomorrow and Tomorrow, but the episode's fine. And there wasn't anything like in previous years where I could say it was the very worst thing. So my worst thing of Trek in 2023 is the way Paramount treated Prodigy, because that's easily the worst thing that happened that year. So
it is actually, that's true.
That definitely gets that out of the way. So yeah, when it came to Strange New World season 2, then I'll just go through the episodes and my scores. I gave The Broken Circle 8 out of 10. Ad Astra per Aspera 10 out of 10.
Mhm.
Tomorrow I gave 3 out of 10 because I was just really bitter about that timeline. Among the Lotus Eaters I gave 6 out of 10. Charades I gave 4 out of 10, but I keep getting criticized by DK because he loves that episode. Lost in Translation I give 7.5 out of 10. Those Old Scientists 10 out of 10 again. Under the Cloak of War I give 2 out of 10. I said not a fan. Subspace Rhapsody 9.5 out of 10, very close. And again, we mentioned it on our Blood Oath review, but myself and DK pleasantly surprised by Hegemony after the previous score and stuff, and I gave that 8 out of 10. So not bad at all.
Yeah, not bad. I also didn't like Charades, to be honest.
Really?
Not really. I didn't. I'm not going to rewatch it. I thought Hegemony was good. I was really glad to see Montgomery Scott.
Yeah,
I was really glad to see him.
Yeah, that actor was good as well.
Cool.
So yeah, Lower Deck season 4 then. 2 Vicks, I gave 7 out of 10. I Have No Bones Yet I Must Flee, aka Moopsie. I gave 8 out of 10 episodes. 8 out of 10 score, sorry. In the Cradle of Vexilon, 6 out of 10. Something Borrowed, Something Green, 9 out of 10. I really like that.
Good one.
Empathological Fallacies is 4 out of 10. Probably not that strong. Path Ferengi's Heart Place, 8 out of 10. A Few Badges More, 8 out of 10. Caves, 9 out of 10. I agreed with the people that wrote that highly. The Inner Fight I didn't love. I gave it like a 3 or a 4 out of 10, but I think I have to rewatch. Because I think it was more just like, it felt like it was more set up for the finale. And speaking of which, Old Friends, New Planets, the finale, I would give 8 out of 10. So, yeah.
Yeah, I agree with most of those.
Yeah.
I just love Caves. I mean, that's my favorite one for the season. I loved how they all came together to talk about things that they have done apart from each other. I really liked that. I loved meeting Delta Shift.
Yeah.
I am a really big Dr. Ta'ana fan. She's so irreverent. And I loved everything about the scene where he has the baby. I mean, I just thought that was great. So
yeah,
it's kind of this show just gives actors a chance to just be crazy. I like that.
I know, and it's so good. And I never hear anybody mentioning it, but yeah, I really loved Something Borrowed, Something Green, because it was great character development for Tendi, who I love anyway. And it was a good episode and a lot of nerdy references. But the thing that sticks in my mind the most is just, it's the first time truly in Lower Decks that there's been a running joke that really made me just laugh every time. And it was with Mariner just getting stabbed.
That was so funny. And it's her reactions. She's like, "Oh, come on." You know, like, I mean, that was really, that made it funny. And I really love Tendi. If I could have a t-shirt, any Star Trek t-shirt in the world right now, it would be Tendi. She's just great. Yeah.
So you're not loving the idea that she got sent away back to Orion at the end of season 4?
No, but I'm hoping, I want to learn more about her. I think it'll give her a chance to really realize how much she loves and misses Starfleet. I also think she's going to miss Rutherford.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I don't think it's the last we've seen of her. I think that'll
be but I hope we have scenes of her on her planet, much like I loved how they did Ezri Dax Goes Home.
Absolutely.
I just that her home life was so dark, and no wonder she wanted to leave and go to Starfleet.
Yeah. I will say, talking about that, the character, her sister, Erica, is it?
Yeah, to Erica.
I had no idea until just a couple of weeks ago that character is voiced by Ariel Winter, who played the Alex, the young daughter on A Modern Family. If you ever watched that show?
Oh, I didn't know that. Yeah, I know.
I didn't either. I was like, I saw her name when I was rewatching the episode a few weeks back, and was like, that's not the Ariel Winter from Modern Family, is it?
Oh, yeah, well, good for her. That's cool because, Jerry O'Connell, he's like a big name actor.
Yeah.
He's here. I like all that stuff.
They have a lot of, I mean, I don't know if you know the guy who does the chief engineer, Paul Scheer, the actor. His wife is the same actress who voiced his mother in the one episode on the show. Diana.
That is funny.
Well. They have a lot of comedy people and stuff turning up anyway.
Well, you got to have, this show really calls, of all the Star Trek shows, this one calls for comedy writers.
Yeah.
Because you can develop a character so much, but they still have to have that line, that funny beat, that humorous moment, And I'm really happy that Gabriel Ruiz is here for Tallinn.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
really like
Oh,
Tallinn.
she's so good, and I think
Yeah, I love
that
it.
was a stroke of genius.
And you know what's funny is, wasn't Jack Quaid had a few moments in Oppenheimer, right?
Yes, yeah, he did. Yeah.
It's like, oh my gosh.
He's also like literally the co-lead of The Boys. The guy gets around.
Oh, I didn't know that. Wow.
Yeah,
That's funny.
yeah, he turns up in a load of different stuff.
Mhm, mhm.
Somebody there was a thing going around on the internet last year about like, nepotism babies should acknowledge themselves, and for some reason Meg Ryan came out and was like, "It's my boy doesn't deserve all of this."
Yeah.
We were like, literally nobody was criticizing Jack Quaid.
That's funny, of
He made him
course.
look bad because we were like, "Yeah, no, he's earned it."
Mhm.
So,
I love how they've kind of, I hope, closed out Badgie, but I hope we didn't close out Peanut Hamper and Agimus. You know, I want them back. I love them.
didn't Logic or one of the other ones appear like in the end of the season? They're like kind of the
Yeah, but I want them gone. They're not. I mean, I want to spend more time on other things. Badgie was funny and a good.
I was kind
way
of
to get to know Rutherford.
got nothing to do in her return appearance in season 4.
Yeah.
I would have liked to see more. I felt bad for Heather Donahue because she basically carried the episode before that in the previous season.
Yeah, big episodes, you know. Yeah, absolutely. What did you think of Ram and Lita coming back?
You know my feelings towards DS9. It's my least favorite Trek.
Yeah, I know.
Well,
we need to do a rewatch, just me and you, and talk about.
I like it, but it's not what I look for in Star Trek, and it's not.
Right.
So it's not what I immediately reach for. Not least because, I mean, you can't just chuck it on and watch an episode. It's like sitting down to watch a novel, and you've got to watch it all. Having said that, the Delta Flyers podcast has now started reviewing DS9 because they finished Voyager, and I didn't listen to them review Voyager because I figured I would do it when I got to Voyager on my rewatch. But I started listening to them do the DS9 one because they've been joined. Obviously, it's Robbie McNeil and Garrett Wang who do it. And they're now being joined by Armin Shimmerman and Terry Farrell to review DS9. And
I love that.
I was bored over Christmas and I was like, I'll listen to Emissary and see what it's like. Next thing you know, I've listened to Emissary, A Man Alone. I've listened to all 3 or 4 of the episodes they've done so far. And I'll probably just carry on with it.
Yeah, you should.
It's interesting.
I love that podcast. That's a good bunch.
Yeah. And I will eventually, when I get around to it, go back and listen to the Voyager reviews. I probably missed a lot there because I love Voyager. But that's the thing. I don't really need to be convinced into sort of rewatching or revisiting the Voyager episodes because I love them anyway.
What's funny, you know, like when I've listened to those 2 talk about stuff, there's so much that they don't remember. You know, and it's like we know every minute of every episode, and they're like, "Oh, I didn't even know that was in it." Because you know, when you're making something, you're not paying attention. It's all okay. Now go here and do this, and go here and do that, and now we're going to go to this side of the studio, and they wouldn't have seen it all put together and been obsessed like the fans are.
I think that's why I'm liking the DS9 one is because they are watching Deep Space Nine as fans because they weren't in that. If you know what I mean. So it's super fascinating hearing people that have been in another Star Trek and them finding these things and like they genuinely are finding like characters and moments and stuff that they are enjoying. And they're able to say, like, oh, I can't believe that Avery made that choice, or I liked this scene, or I'm loving that we're getting to know.
Well, see, another reason, Mike, that we should be watching the episodes that they're about to review of Deep Space Nine.
I remember them well enough, but it's incredible getting a different perspective. And it's shocking that after like the first 4 episodes, the big takeaway is that they're all surprised how much they love Bashir. Because they were like, you said something like, we've met Sid in person, and he's actually quite serious and, you know, not uptight or not dramatic, but he's quite a serious guy. And yet you see Bashir, and he's almost the comic relief. He's so lighthearted and lovable.
Yeah.
And he's not like the actor that plays him, which isn't to say that Sid is bad in any way. It's just that he's so much more serious and you know, intellectual and whatever else. And the character of Bashir is so shy and especially at first, shy and always puts his foot in it. And not like that. It's like they said something like he's actually royalty from some obscure country, so he's fairly confident and socially fine and everything. But Bashir is the exact opposite. And I'm like, you know what? You're right as well. You know, come to think of it. So
Sudan or something like Southern Sudan. One of the Sudan, something like that. Yeah, that's awesome. Love it.
Anyway, so the last thing I'll do then, and then I'll let you go, is I've got a top 10 list of Trek episodes for the whole of 2023.
Oh, I'd love to hear. Love to hear.
Do you have one yourself, or?
Nope, I'd love to hear yours. I didn't get that deep into it.
Fair enough. Well, going from 10 to 1 then, my number 10 was the Picard episode, The Last Generation, which was the last episode of season 3.
Mm-hmm.
Would have been higher. I loved the Enterprise D and the return of the crew and everything, but I didn't love the Enterprise D turning into an X-Wing during the trench run, and I didn't love seeing the Borg again. Although they did, they were fine, but it felt a lot sort of, all right. It was a bit of a letdown after the build-up. But anyway, still good, still number 10. Number 9 was I Have No Bones Yet I Must Flee, mainly because of Oopsie. Say about that. Number 8 was The Broken Circle, which I've reviewed on the podcast Hit or Miss Star Trek, so you can go listen to that. Number 7 was Vox, which I think that does everything that the finale does, but better. So it's the first reveal of the Enterprise D, and you see the Enterprise F and the fleet all around, and it's the raising of the stakes, finding out that it is a Borg, but it's a different take on them at that point.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's, for me, it's a little bit better. My number 6 is Caves from Lower Decks, which we've talked about. I love that, and I love it for the same reasons, exploring the characters. And it's nice to see a really obscure animated series alien that's only appeared once return.
Right. It really is. Oh, yeah.
Only in Lower Decks.
The Vexilons or whatever. What were they called? The Vendel?
I think Vendorians, is it?
Yeah, but yeah, they were in a original series episode, right?
I think they do appear briefly in a first season Lower Decks.
Yeah, the Survivor. No, they were in Vendorians. Okay, moving on. Sorry.
No, but, my number 5 is Imposters, which was, as I mentioned, the episode with Rose return, and Rose faced off with Picard. My number 4, which I've talked about again at length, is Something Borrowed, Something Green from Lower Decks. My number 1, 2, and 3 are so close together, but they're my 3 favorites, and they're all 10 out of 10s. And number 3, Subspace Rhapsody, which again we've talked about at length in person and on the various podcasts. Musical, and I love that. I've listened to the soundtrack 1,000 times. I'm so excited to reach it on the rewatch of the 4K that I got for Christmas and see the deleted scenes and everything all over again. And yeah, loving it. Number 2 is Those Old Scientists, because I mean, it was just incredible that they used what could have been a throwaway comedy idea for the crossover and yet used it to develop both series as characters in huge ways, while still actually being funny and charming and geeky and it's amazing. But my number 1 was definitely Ad Astra Per Aspera from Strange New Worlds, because it's Star Trek's mission statement in a 45-50 minute episode. Everything you need to know about why I think most of the Star Trek fandom loves Star Trek can be found by watching that episode. And yeah, I just love when it deals with Starfleet as a cool refuge and a nice safe haven and a place to aspire to, and a place where we can challenge bigotry and actually ask these big questions, and seeing it through Una's eyes as the kind of, she never judged them for not accepting her, but
that's right.
It's so good. Watch it and it's clever. It's the actual resolution of it is so.
Yeah,
I
love that.
I thought it was so clever.
Yeah,
if you just ask for asylum, then we are, obligated to grant it, and that's all you need to do. You've met all of the criteria to do it. So, brilliant. So yeah, that was the year in Trek, a very good one, and hopefully we'll get a little bit this year. I know that we definitely will get Discovery season 5 and final. I think it's been announced for March. I could be wrong, around that time. And we will at some point get Prodigy season 2. That might be it though, because strikes and everything. Although maybe the next 5 I'll see. Yeah, we'll wait and see. But yeah, we almost certainly won't get Strange New World season 3 until 2025, unfortunately. So.
Yeah, for sure. They were all out there walking the lines.
Yeah, exactly. But I mean, they are filming, because they posted on Instagram a picture of one of the consoles on the bridge with a little sign that said "loaded for pyro." So it was obviously going to do the stereotypical "we're under attack, the console exploded." And I did see that one of the comments was Celia Rose Gooding just saying that console looks familiar. So we might find Uhura in sick bay with burns at some point.
Oh boy! All right, cool. I look forward to that.
That's what I'm looking forward to in 2024. Just more Trek and more good stuff, and keep on rewatching.
Absolutely.
So yeah, any last thoughts from you before we head out then?
Oh, just thank you, Trek writers, for all of your hard work, and actors and everybody on the cruise and everything like that. And I'm so glad that strikes are over, and I'm so glad for Star Trek in general, and I'm glad for this podcast that you do, Mike. I'm glad for all the work that you put into it, and I'm really glad that you did this. I'm glad we brought it back after it was gonna maybe take a hiatus.
Yeah.
I'm glad that you brought it back, and just thank you so much for everything that you do.
Oh, no
And
problem.
that's all I have to say.
We managed. And before I forget, I can't believe I haven't done this yet. I will be killed by DK.
Oh no!
I'll bring it up now. The next episode of the Silver Screen podcast is dropping tomorrow,
Right.
January the 2nd. It's ready. It's queued up. You probably might have seen it there. We've started dropping vague hints about it, what it might be on social media, and you'll see some more of those. But do tune in at 7 p.m. Tomorrow for the first episode of Silver Screen Cult Classics of the year.
All right, good. I love the cult classics.
DK's baby, and he's kind of spinning it off into a different day. I will still be involved with, at least I think half of them, but I wasn't with this particular episode. It was edited by somebody else, and I wasn't on it.
Oh.
But I listened to it as a fan just to check the edit, and I can tell you it's a great episode. So do listen to it or watch it on the YouTube channel, and come back here for that, and keep an eye on both channels, Silver Screen Podcast and Hit or Miss Star Trek. We'll be back very soon to them both with new content, and what else can I say other than thanks if anybody's listened to this all the way through.
Poor people.
We've looked back, and I think we've come away with 2023 was actually quite a good year despite all of the turmoil, and let's hope 2024 isn't terribly impacted by all of the delays due to strikes and things, and hopefully we can enjoy TV and films for another great year. So,
And I wish all of our listeners out there a wonderful 2024. Keep coming back. Keep giving us ideas and suggestions and feedback. I love it.
Absolutely. And thank you, Adrienne, for being the lone voice that was standing stalwart and true with me for this entire 3.5 hours.
Oh, I love it. It's great. Happy to be here. I'm glad we didn't have too many breaking in of children into what is mommy doing in there. I think we only had 2 or 3. So
I don't blame them at all. No, you've been there a long time. I will let you get away and enjoy the rest of your day, though. But thanks again. And again, thanks for joining us. And keep an eye on the social medias. We're on all of them. So you can find us on the Silver Screen Podcast, Hit or Miss Star Trek, or my name, Michael Wilson. And just, hopefully join us tomorrow for Silver Screen Cult Classics episode 12. All right, guys, take care. Bye-bye.